wants the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interest you have committed to our church. Amen. Clerk, could you confirm whether we have the quorum? So, Sergeant at Arms, ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes. Can you do for 10 minutes?
Naam, Spika wa muda waziri, samahani, sio waziri bali Seneta Wakili Sigei amekwisha fika, amepata kwamba hakuna akidi. Kwa hivyo ameagizwa kengele kukirizwa kwa muda wa dakika 10 kwa minajili ya kutafuta akidi. Na nikiendelea kukueleza kuhusu ratiba ya shughuli za bunge, ni kwamba seneta yupi huyu? Naam, seneta yuko hapa ambaye ana maswali kwa waziri Profesa Kithure Kindiki. Seneta angependa kujua ni mikakati gani ambayo waziri ameweka ili kuzuia matumizi ya ketamine almaarufu kete, hasa katika maeneo ya Mlima Kenya. Ketamine ni aina ya dawa ambayo inatumika hospitalini. Na nilipata kuzungumza na binti mmoja ambaye ni daktari, anakwenda kwa jina la Dr. Pam, kuhusu ketamine, na akanieleza kwamba ketamine ni dawa ya kumfanya mgonjwa apoteze fahamu kwa muda tu, na hii ni kwa sababu ya kupewa matibabu peke yake. Kuna ketamine ya kudungwa kupitia kwa sindano, na pia kuna aina ya ketamine ambayo mgonjwa anapewa avute. Kwa kimombo tunasema inhale. Naam, anavuta kupitia kwa pua. Na ukishadungwa ama ukishavuta ketamine, inakufanya upoteze fahamu, kisha hautahisi uchungu katika mwili wako wakati ambapo matibabu yanaendelea. Dr. Pama alinielimisha zaidi kwamba ketamine inatumika sana sana katika matibabu ambayo yanachukua muda mfupi tu, pengine dakika 10, 15 ama 20 hivi. Kisha mgonjwa anarudisha fahamu, na pindi tu mgonjwa anaporudisha fahamu, daktari anatakiwa kuwa amemaliza kufanya hayo matibabu. Na mgonjwa akipewa ketamine haachwi peke yake, lazima aangaliwe kwa karibu sana, tena sio na daktari mmoja bali madaktari wawili na zaidi. Kisha nikaelezwa kwamba ni dawa ambayo inapaswa kutumika na madaktari waliohitimu peke yake. Lakini miongoni mwetu na hasa katika maeneo ya Mlima Kenya, wako watu ambao wanatumia ketamine kama dawa ya kulevya. Katika lugha ya mtaa, ketamine inaitwa Jet K, KitKat inaitwa Purple, kuna wale ambao wanaita Special K, wengine wanaita Special La Coke. Jina lingine la mtaa la ketamine ni Super Acid, Super K na hata Vitamin K. Na ukitumia ketamine inasemekana inakufanya udondoke machozi bila kupenda. Unajipata tu unafumba na kufumbua macho kwa haraka, kwa kasi sana. Na pia inakufanya macho yenyewe ukodoe kodokodo. Isitoshe, ukitumia ketamine ovyo inakufanya uzungumze sana pasipokuwa na siri, na inakufanya ukose kumbukumbu, yani memory loss. Kisha mtazamaji, ninapokueleza hivi, mimi napata picha ambayo haipendezi hata kidogo. Ni picha ya kutisha sana. Ni kitu ambacho siwezi kumtakia mtoto wa adui yangu kamwe. Lakini nikiachana na maelezo mengi, ni kwamba seneta wa Laikipia angependa kujua hatua ambazo wizara ya Profesa Kindiki imechukua ili kujenga vituo zaidi vya urekebishaji tabia, yani rehabilitation centers, ambazo zitawashughulikia watumizi wa madawa ya kulevya. Naam, Seneta Chute wa Marsabit County pia ana maswali kwa waziri Profesa Kindiki. Seneta Chute anasema zipo nafasi za kazi za machifu na pia manaibu wa chifu. Swali ni je, hizo nafasi ni ngapi katika kila kaunti? Angependa pia kujua nafasi zenyewe zimekuwa wazi kwa muda gani. Anamwomba waziri pia aeleze sababu ya nafasi hizo kusalia wazi kwa muda. Na hatimaye anauliza iwapo mipango ya kuajiri machifu na manaibu wa chifu itafanyika lini kujaza nafasi hizo. Na mbali na maswali kuhusu machifu, Seneta Chute ana maswali zaidi kwa waziri Profesa Kindiki. La kwanza, ni nini ambacho kimechelewesha kuajiriwa kwa polisi au askari wa akiba, police reservist kwa kimombo, na ni katika kaunti ya Marsabit na pia kaunti nyingine ama kaunti zingine ambazo ziko kaskazini mwa nchi ya Kenya. Seneta Chute pia anamtaka waziri Kindiki aeleze mipango iliyoko ya kuajiri na kuwasambaza polisi wa akiba. Pia katika swali la mwisho, Seneta Chute anaomba kujua itachukua muda gani kuwaajiri na kuwasambaza hawa polisi wa akiba.
Medhu, Senator Boni Halwale, take your seats. Honorable members, we have quorum. Clerk, you may now proceed to call the first order.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
This is the chairperson standing committee on health. There is a paper to be laid, or any member from that particular committee if the chairperson is not present. I'm unable to see Senator Mandago, the chairperson of Health Committee. Any member from the Committee of Health? Senator Esi Akinyuri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Papers laid. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following committee reports on the table of the Senate today, 11th October 2023. 1, report of the Standing Committee on Health on the Digital Health Bill 2023, National Assembly Bills number 57 of 2023. 2, report of the Standing Committee on Health on the bill on the Social Health Insurance Bill 2023, National Assembly Bills number 58 of 2023. On behalf of the Chairperson, Standing Committee on Health, thank you.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Honorable members, I do take note of the presence of CS for Interior, Professor Kindiki. Welcome to the Senate, Professor. And for purposes of housekeeping, honorable members, we have got quite a number of questions. We have 7 questions for the CS for Interior and 2 questions for Honorable CS Namwamba. And we need to take guidance in terms of time management for purposes of ensuring that we deal with all the questions. And I direct that we will take not more than 20 minutes per question in all the 9 questions. So we will start with the Honorable Professor Kithure Kindiki. And I also take note of the absence of Senator Kinyua, who had the first question 11. I do not know, have not been notified of any designation to any member to ask the question. And so we will start with the question by Senator for Marsabit, question number 25. Senator for Marsabit, Senator Mohammed Chute, you will go first so that in the process of your question, then we would have Senator from Senator Kinyua present. Honorable Professor Kindiki, you are a ranking member to this House. And so I also take this opportunity to appreciate you for honoring the summons to appear. I believe this is part and parcel of what you previously have taken this House through, and in terms of ensuring that we do serve the people of Kenya. And you're welcome. Feel free, feel at home, take us through the questions which I'm sure you have already submitted a report to the House. And so you will be cognizant of the direction given in terms of management of time, as well as also the senator who is going to be asking the questions. Senator Chute, proceed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Let me congratulate and thank our able CS. And I know you're doing a very good job in this country. And as a senator from Marsabit, I know you've done a lot for Marsabit. Thank you and karibu to this honorable House. The Speaker, I have question number 25 and number 26. If you will allow me, I can read both. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Question number 25A. Could the Cabinet Secretary provide a per county schedule of vacancies in positions of chief and assistant chief in Kenya, indicating the period the respective positions have been vacant, as well as causes of the vacancies? B, Mr. Speaker, what plans are in place to ensure the recruitment and deployment of chiefs and assistant chiefs to fill the vacant positions? If I proceed, if I may, question number 26. A, what has occasioned the delay in the recruitment?
Senator Chute, allow the Honorable CS to respond to each question at a time. So
Right.
Let him respond to the first question, then you will go to the second question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS, you are welcome to respond to the first question by Senator Chute. You are not on the mic, just hold kindly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, in response to question number 25 by the Senator from Marsabit County, we are not in a position to give the exact information the Senator looks for unless that question is specific to a county, because, Honorable Speaker, the vacancies for positions of chiefs and assistant chiefs occur on a daily basis for the reasons which I'm going to provide. As the House is aware, our country is divided into 8 regions, 47 counties, 378 sub-counties, 982 divisions, 3,055 locations, and 9,045 sub-locations. And the circumstances through which locations and sub-locations, which is the subject matter of today's inquiry, the circumstances under which locations and sub-locations fall vacant include natural attrition through death, which occurs continuously, dismissal from service, once the procedures for dismissal are concluded either by courts or through the Public Service Commission without the pendency of an appeal in any court within the country. These positions also continuously fall vacant due to promotion of the office holder to a higher office. They also fall vacant due to resignation and redesignation of the office holder on request. And based on all these reasons that cause vacancies for chiefs and assistant chiefs, accurate data cannot be retrieved on the vacancies within counties, except if, for example, we are asked for a particular county as at a particular date, in which case we can freeze the date and give the information. Every day we are hiring new chiefs. Every day we are promoting new chiefs and assistant chiefs. Every day some are retiring, others are being interviewed. And that is why the first part of the question, unless it is time-bound and county-specific, is difficult to provide the data. Having said that, Honorable Speaker, sir, it is the policy decision of this administration that all vacancies for chiefs and assistant chiefs will be filled within this financial year. And no office of a location chief or a sub-location assistant chief should fall vacant. Going forward, we'll make sure that as soon as a vacancy is declared, we initiate the recruitment process immediately and fill the positions immediately. Number 2, last year was an election year, and that affected many of the processes because ordinarily when you have elections, we pause some of these processes so that they are not interfered with by political processes. But now the election is behind us. We have taken the decision that this financial year, all positions of chiefs and assistant chiefs countrywide are going to be filled, and those that will fall vacant will be filled immediately without any further delay. In other words, Honorable Chair, Honorable Speaker, sir, the reason why there has been some delay in quite a number of positions being filled is because of last year's general election, which interfered with the procedures and processes which should have taken place last year. But we are going to correct that position this year. The process of filling the vacant positions is guided by the scheme of service for chiefs and assistant chiefs and the service regulations. And once a unit falls vacant, the process of filling the same is commenced, and it includes the following steps. A, the declaration of the vacant position. B, advertisement of the vacant position. 3, interviewing of the applicants. D, submission for appointment. And finally, the appointment of the successful applicants. This year, we undertake to make sure that all the pending appointments where vacancies exist will be filled within the financial year. Mr. Speaker, sir, I submit.
Thank you, Professor, for your responses. To Senator Chute, you, of course, are aware of the fact that you have got the opportunity to ask a maximum of 2 more supplementary questions, which, as per the standing order, are supposed to be within the context of the earlier question, as well as other members, if they have questions, they can also get that opportunity. I do not know whether, Senator Chute, you want to exercise that bit right now, or you allow other members, if any, with any supplementary question within this particular question before you sum up with your supplementary, if any.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I will allow my fellow senators to ask questions. Mine will come at the end of our session. And please don't forget my last 2 questions.
Senator Chute, you cannot direct the chair, so the chair knows what to do and when. I have in my dashboard request
just a reminder
from Senator Boni Halwale. And members, be cognizant of the directions I gave earlier on about time. I will exercise that right when the time allocated for this particular question is consumed fully.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to agree with the Minister that just to give a general question, a general answer for the whole country is ambiguous, and yet we want to be specific. Mr. Speaker, could the Minister help us? We have locations and sub-locations where the interviews have already been done, and some of them date as far back as 6 to 8 months. Amongst them, we have the Assistant Chief of Malinya Sub-Location in Kakamega South, also called Ekolomani Sub-County. Shiseso in the same place, and many other such sub-locations and locations in Kakamega County, and I know it applies to the rest of the country. Could you direct in how many days starting from today the decision will be communicated to the successful applicants?
Honorable CS, respond to that bit.
Honorable Mr. Speaker, sir, I would commit for the specific locations that the Senator for Kakamega has asked, and all other locations and sub-locations where interviews have taken place, the appointments will be done within 90 days from now. 90 days maximum. And Mr. Speaker, if for a second I can explain, one of the reasons why it also takes some time after the interviews is for us to be able to get the security reports, because the offices of chiefs and other administrators are sensitive offices, and normally we require a security report to come and be triangulated with the results of the interviews. But in 90 days, in all locations and sub-locations where interviews have taken place, the appointments will have been done, and the chiefs or assistant chiefs, as the case may be, will be in office.
Thank you, Honorable CS. I will allow Senator Medhu John Muhia, Senator Alex Mundigi,
Bwana Spika, swali langu wa waziri wa usalama, Bwana Waziri, tunajua umefanya kazi nzuri sana. Miaka mingi hatunjawahi kuona ile kazi mtu kama waziri amefanya kazi ile umefanya. Na tukiendelea hivyo, serikali yetu ya Kenya Kwanza kwa hii kipindi ya miaka 5 itakuwa imeendelea vizuri. Kwa sababu tunajua hata wale watu wanaendesha magari kwa barabara saa hii, sisi wenyewe tunafurahia, hata wezi wanakuogopa. Na pia hata wale watu walikuwa na rusa mawe wanakuogopa. Kwa sababu ulisema hakutawahi kuwa na maandamano tena. Na sasa tunaelekea vizuri. Swali langu ni mambo ya Turkana. Tunakuomba sisi Senator Masinani tulitembea huko, na kwa kipindi ya miaka mingi kule ni mambo ya vita. Na wanafikiria mambo ya vita, na sasa imekuwa hiyo ni njia hata wale viongozi waanjivishia pale. Na kaunti ya Turkana kwa kipindi ya miaka 10 wamepatiwa bilioni 130, na kaunti zingine imepata kama Embu imepata bilioni 6, kwa hiyo ni bilioni karibu 50 kwa miaka 10. Na tukienda pale hakuna pesa ilikuwa inaonekana, lakini mali wanajivishia ni mambo ya security. Kwa uerevu yako na kuuliza kama pale sio nguvu itatumika, kama unaweza tumia hiyo uerevu yako unataka kutumia Kenya, ndio tuweze kuona tuokoe watu jimbo la Turkana. Tunakuomba uone kama inawezekana utumie makanisa na viongozi, uone kama unaweza kuokoa jimbo la Turkana juu ya ukatusi wakati huu. Asante Bwana Waziri.
Senator, before I allow the CS to respond, Senator Mundigi, I had earlier on indicated that when given an opportunity, we ask the CS supplementary questions which are related to the main principal question that had been asked. I do not know whether the question you have asked is in any way related to the original question, other than the fact that it, of course, goes to the CS. But I will allow the Honorable CS to spare a moment to respond or comment on that question. Honorable CS, take the mic.
Honorable Speaker, I agree with the Senator for Embu that while we have spent some time in kinetic operations, which is the use of force to try and secure peace in Turkana and other counties that have similar insecurity issues, it is now the time for us, besides the use of kinetics, to move into peace building, which includes the use of stakeholders to build sustainable peace for Turkana and other similarly situated counties, but also at the same time, Cabinet has approved a special program for counties which have suffered insecurity, especially in North Rift and Upper Eastern, so that we can also begin opening those areas for development as a way of long-term sustainability of the efforts that the kinetic operations are brought in these areas. And therefore, I agree with the Senator that beyond the use of force, we need peace building, and we also need to open these areas for development as a way of sustaining the prevailing situation and permanently resolving insecurity in these areas. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable CS. Senator William Kipkemoi-Kisang.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wish to thank the CS Elgeyo Marakwet County along the Valley. We've had insecurity for a while, and with the intervention of the CS, peace is restored there. My question, Honorable Speaker, is I hope the units, the locations and sub-locations that the CS has promised that within 90 days they are going to advertise the positions will include also units that were cassetted 2017, and up to now, some areas already they advertised, but areas within Elgeyo Marakwet County, I have close to about 15 units, locations and sub-locations. Since 2017, they were cassetted, and nothing has happened. So I hope, CS, you are going to promise us that within the 90 days, those units within that side of Elgeyo Marakwet County will be advertised.
Thank you, Honorable Cheptumo. I will allow the CS to respond, and though I have got an additional 3 more members, I will, after the CS responds to that particular question, ask Honorable Chute to ask his supplementary question, considering the directions I gave earlier on. I know Senator Cheptumo, Senator Murango, and Senator Muma, you've got burning questions. The CS is still here for the next 1.5 hours plus. Ensure that your question fits into the subsequent questions. I will prioritize you, but so that we comply with the directive I gave, I will allow the CS, and then shortly thereafter, Chute to ask the supplementary question. Cheptumo, I will prioritize you as well as Muma and Murango in the subsequent questions. Thank you. CS, proceed.
Mr. Speaker, sir, it is true we have a number of administrative units in quite a significant number of counties which were gazetted in the past. They have not been operational, mainly because of budgetary constraints. But we have also, as an administration, made the decision that all administrative units, being sub-counties, divisions, locations, and sub-locations that were already gazetted by past administrations, we have made the decision to operationalize them, and already have made a commitment that the outstanding sub-counties that have been operationalized will be operationalized within this financial year. The same will apply to divisions, locations, and sub-locations, and priority will be given first to areas that have suffered or are suffering acute insecurity. But in the long term, we will operationalize every administrative unit that has already been gazetted, because it is a decision of government which had been done after public participation, and we cannot go back on something that the public had already petitioned government and government had acceded to. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable CS. Senator Chute, if you have any supplementary question, I will allow you a maximum of 2.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to, if you will allow me, I want to give one of my questions to my neighbor here, if that is okay with you. And I will not even ask a question. I want to tell our Honorable CS, there is this issue of Ilret sub-county. I know the process has been being fast-tracked. Honorable CS, when and how soon do you think Ilret will be announced or given that sub-county? Because the people of Ilret are anxiously waiting to get their sub-county for the first time in their life. Thank you very much for the hard work you are doing. We are impressed with what you are doing, and we congratulate you and support you 100%, Honorable CS. Asante sana kwa kazi unayofanya. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Chute. Honorable CS, could respond to that supplementary question.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the issue of the Ilret sub-county was raised the last time I appeared before this House. Immediately, I left the chamber. I directed that the public participation, which is the requirement of the law, be done for the purpose of initiating the procedure of creating the Ilret sub-county, which is one of the most deserving cases that I know of. That process has already been completed. I want to commit to the House and to the Senator for Marsabit that Ilret sub-county will be operationalized within the next 60 days, and there will be a DCC and heads of department in place.
Thank you, Honorable CS. Senator Cheptumo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, allow me as the Chair of Security in this House to very sincerely thank our CS. I really appreciate the efforts he's making to secure our country. And Mr. CS, I want to assure you that the House will continue to give you the support. But on the issue of assistant chiefs, Mr. Speaker, the chiefs and the assistant chiefs are the lowest unit of administration in our country. And they play a critical role in terms of administration and peace and order in our society. Mr. CS, could you consider public participation in the recruitment of these officers? I'm saying so, Mr. Speaker, because sometimes the chiefs we employ, or assistant chiefs we employ, are people who sometimes are not really able to discharge their functions well. If the public is given a chance to participate in the recruitment process, we can have the best chiefs and assistant chiefs in the country. But CS, would you consider, as a matter of policy perhaps, as we proceed, that the public should be involved in assisting the ministry in the employment of chiefs and assistant chiefs? Just a policy issue, which in my view, Mr. Speaker, can really help us to have the best administrators on the ground.
Honorable CS, could you respond to that as well?
Mr. Speaker, the recruitment of chiefs and assistant chiefs is governed by the scheme of service, which is administered by the Public Service Commission. And while they are in service, we normally do continuous training and reorientation so that the public interest element is maintained. Nevertheless, we have no problem looking at how in the future the involvement of the public can enrich the process going forward. It's something that we are open to considering. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable CS. That brings us, Honorable Members, to the close of question number 25. I would like to invite Senator Chute to proceed to ask the CS question number 26. Senator Chute, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, once again. My question number 26A, what has occasioned the delay in the recruitment of National Police Reservists, NPRs, in Marsabit County and the wider northern frontier counties? Question B, could the Cabinet Secretary indicate the plans in place to ensure prompt recruitment and deployment of NPRs, and also state the projected timelines for the same? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Chute. Honorable CS.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in answer to question number 26 by the Senator for Marsabit County, I would like to inform the House as follows, that it is true that there was or has been a delay in the recruitment of National Police Reservists in Marsabit County. The reasons for that delay, first, at the time when the request was made by the leaders of Marsabit, we had exhausted the budget for last year, and we were not able to accommodate that request in last year's or last financial year's budget. Number two, at the time when the request was made, many residents of Marsabit County had migrated because of the devastation of the drought that had affected this area, among other arid and semi-arid areas of our country, and therefore it was not practical to carry out the exercise. I am happy to report that the budget issue has been resolved, and therefore this financial year we can accommodate that request, perhaps in a modest way, because again, we will give priority to the most needed parts of that county. And number two, now that normalcy has returned and the residents are back in the county, that is the second reason why that process should be able to commence. I therefore plead with the Senator from Marsabit and the House to give us 30 days to report progress on this matter. Honorable Speaker, in terms of the rest of the counties, the deployment of National Police Reservists is as follows. In Samburu County, the government has recruited 460 National Police Reservists. They have already been trained and deployed since November 2022 to date. There has been an additional recruitment of 150 NPRs who were recruited, but they have not been trained, they have not been deployed from the same county. And partly we have realized that the recruitment of NPRs has a bearing on the security of these regions, and that explains partly why Samburu County, in most parts, have experienced some kind of stability, among other reasons. Mr. Speaker, sir, in Elgeyo Marakwet County, the government has recruited a total of 153 National Police Reservists, and they will be trained. Again, we could not do the training because of budgetary constraints, but we'll be training them this financial year and deploying them. Baringo County, the government has recruited 200 National Police Reservists. They have been deployed accordingly. In West Pokot County, the government has recruited 205 National Police Reservists, but they are not yet, the process is not complete. The training has not been done and the deployment has not been done. Again, this financial year, we have been able to secure resources to complete that process. In Turkana County, the government has recruited 140 National Police Reservists, and they have been trained and deployed. And there has been a further request of 400, which was put on hold in terms of training and deployment because of budgetary constraints. Finally, Mr. Speaker, sir, in Laikipia County, the government has recruited 419 National Police Reservists. They have been recruited, trained, kitted, and deployed. And again, the significant security situation in Laikipia could be attributed significantly to the presence of NPRs. And therefore, for the outstanding counties, we'll expedite. And for the information of the House, we have also deployed NPRs in other parts, not the parts where the operation is ongoing, including Lamu. And we are reviewing again the numbers for Lamu and Northeastern this financial year. I submit.
Thank you, Honorable CS, for the response. Senator Chute, will you also take the option of asking your supplementary question prior or after the members who have got questions to the CS?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll ask one question now and the other one later on. I would want to ask the Cabinet Secretary, what measures have you put in place to forensically identify ballistic bullets that are being tested when it comes to civilian firearms? as you are aware, a firearm licensing board are checking each gun that belongs to a civilian. They know by identifying what gun has released what bullet. What measures are you going to put in place so that guns for NPRs are also registered under the same licensing board? I think you understand what I'm asking. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable CS.
Mr. Speaker, we are strengthening our ballistic testing unit, and as we speak, the Firearms Licensing Board is carrying out a nationwide operation on firearms and ammunitions. And if they have not reached your corner, they are on the way, because we need as a country to mop out illegal firearms and the misuse of firearms from our society if we have to secure our country. Honorable Speaker, related to NPRs, the overwhelming majority of National Police Reservists continue to do a great job in securing the communities where they have been deployed. However, during the past 1 year, we have identified 2 gaps. One is on supervision of NPRs, and therefore we are making arrangements to strengthen the supervision and oversight of National Police Reserve so that the local officer commanding station and other commanders of the National Police Service can account for every firearm and every bullet, every ammunition that is in the hands of NPRs to avoid a situation of misuse. So the issue of oversight over the guns that we issue the NPRs is something that we will tackle very stringently going forward. Secondly and lastly, Honorable Speaker, we have had isolated cases of misuse of firearms. They are few, but the damage is devastating. We've had like 2-3 cases, and we have made it clear that when NPRs misuse firearms, we shall disarm them immediately and prosecute them. We have already taken measures on 2 cases, actually 3 cases, 1 in Samburu and 2 in Elgeyo Marakwet County, where unfortunately it was discovered that a raid which had taken place on livestock, there was evidence that a gun assigned to a police reservist had discharged the bullet that had killed the victims of this crime. But by and large, 99.99% of National Police Reservists are doing a great job every day. As the House will realize, the raids have decreased, and the House will also realize, even in the unlikely event of a raid, the rates of recovery have increased, including this weekend, when some livestock has been recovered from Isiolo, which was stolen from, I think, some places in Igembe on Friday. By Sunday, the entire herd of 81 livestock was recovered and returned to the owners. So to answer the question in a nutshell, is to say we will increase supervision of NPRs and accountability of the firearms and the ammunition they have. And number 2, we shall hold accountable and punish NPRs who misuse the firearms they are given because they will be spoiling the reputation of a very good asset for our national security. I submit.
Thank you, Honorable CS, for that very specific response. Members, I will allow only, and I mark only 4 members to ask supplementary questions because we need to keep time. And I will start with Senator Murango James Kamau.
Asante sana, Mstahiki Spika, kwa kunipa hii nafasi. Kwanza nishukuru waziri kwa kazi nzuri anaofanya katika idara ya usalama, kwa sababu inahitaji moyo, tajriba na weledi kukabidhi vishindo vya usalama nchini. Swali ningetaka kuuliza ni kwamba katika majukumu ambayo inapewa jeshi la polisi katika kulinda usalama katika sehemu tofauti tofauti, mara nyingi kuna wale jeshi la polisi ambao wanatumwa pale, na mimi katika mwaka mmoja nadhani Kirinyaga tumezika watoto kama 8 hivi ambao wako na chini ya miaka 27. Nilikuwa nataka kuuliza waziri, kuna uwezekano ya kwamba wale askari jeshi ambao wanatumwa ni makurutu ambao wana uzoefu wa kutosha katika mazingira wanayopata, na ndio maana wanapoteza maisha? Na kama wamepotesha maisha, kama kuna ridhaa yote ambayo inalipwa, inatosha kwamba inatosha familia ambazo zinaathirika? Kwa sababu familia nyingi ambazo ziko na watoto katika askari jeshi pia wengi wanakuwa wanatarajia kusaidika kutoka kwa ile kazi watoto wale wanafanya. Alafu mahali kuna vita kama vile Turkana na kule jamii zinazozana kwa mipaka na mambo kama hiyo, kuna uwezekano ya kwamba kuwekwe mbafa ama kuwekwe sehemu ambayo ya polisi watakata kama watalima, ili waweze kukinga jamii kupigana, kwa sababu kukiwa na bafa nzoni katikati, hata kama atafanya kilimo kama kule Katilu, niko na hakika kwamba yale mashambulio yatapungua. Asante sana Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Murango. Honorable CS. Honorable CS, yes, I'm asking you to respond to Senator Murango.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is true we have lost officers in the line of duty. And some of them have been lost in the counterterrorism efforts. Others have been lost in the counter-banditry efforts. Others have been lost in the fight in urban crime. Just this weekend, we lost an officer, I think yesterday, who, in the company of 2 other colleagues, had cornered a dangerously armed thug. They managed to neutralize the thug, but the thug shot 3 officers and 1 of them succumbed yesterday. Last year, we lost a total of 58 National Police Service officers countrywide in all these dangerous operations. As to the question whether we send recruits to dangerous missions, the answer is no. We have reserved the deployment of officers in complicated security operations, those that involve the fight against terror, bandits, and other dangerous criminals, to elite units within the National Police Service. So it's not about age of the officer. It is the training of the officer that determines the deployment. Because you can have a very experienced officer, but has no exposure, has no training to handle sophisticated crime. So the age of the officer should not be the problem. You can have a 27-year-old, but they were recruited very early after Kiganjo or APTC and taken to serious counter-terrorism training. It could be 24, 25, but that is the best we have for that effort. So the age should not be a worry. What should be a worry for us as a nation is the loss of our officers in the hands of criminals. I have committed on behalf of government that we shall go out of our way to minimize casualties on our side. So far, in Operation Maliza Uhalifu, we have not had many casualties. We have not had casualties, so to speak. The solution is the 25 billion police equipment modernization program, which has already been completed and the deliveries have started trickling in. And I want to assure the country, in the coming weeks and months, we will turn around the story around terror. And it will be impossible. It will be difficult, if not impossible, for criminals to be able to fell down our officers. We'll make it extremely difficult. But as happens in war, casualties are part of the issue, but we'll minimize them going forward. Better equipment, which includes air equipment or air assets, personal protection equipment, and also the increasing use of unarmed vehicles, aerial vehicles, UAVs, commonly known as drones, to minimize physical contact. Going forward, we will turn around the story and we'll have less officers being felled by the fire of terrorists and dangerous criminals.
Thank you, Honorable CS. I would like to remind members that that question, I exercise my discretion to allow the CS to respond. And going forward, members, ask your supplementary questions in the context of the original question to facilitate quick and direct responses from the CS. So let us be cognizant of that directive. Senator Muma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to ask a question to CS. The Honorable CS Professor Kindiki, welcome to the Senate, and congratulations for the good work that you're doing. Honorable CS, we are very hopeful in the country that with you in that office, we will have the proper rights approaches to internal security, and we can already see that happening in the way in which you operate. Honorable CS, in the matter of the deployment of security officers, be they reservists or police, or even the chiefs and sub-chiefs, my question is to ask why you have not used the approach that we have seen you use. We have seen you accompanied by political leaders from regions when you visit these regions to try and breach the peace and deal with security issues. My question is why you have not used that approach in dealing with the matter of the insecurity in Sondu. Honorable CS, I ask so because the insecurity in Sondu has happened now 3 times. It is an insecurity issue that can actually is needless, and we believe if you involve the national leaders together with yourself on the ground and look on the issue of the deployment of the police and the local administration, you will be able to address this issue much better, because that region not only affects the 2 communities, but it affects many, many other communities and other counties. So, Mr. CS, when will you take leaders from the region with you to deal with that matter once and for all?
Honorable CS, could you take the answer to that question?
Mr. Speaker, sir, in response to that supplementary question, I would like to inform the House that it is true in some places we've been involving political leaders when it is appropriate, but it is also, we carefully do it after assessing the situation so that we don't ask those we suspect are a part of the problem to join us to look for the solution. And I know, and I'm not imputing any motive on any leader around that area. I know there has been a lot of requests from the leadership of both counties, led by the majority leader of this house, that we must allow political leaders to sit down and help in the generation of the solution. I have had a similar request in the clan conflict, inter-clan conflict in Mandera, but we have requested the leaders to hold a bit until we do a bit of homework before we call them in. In fact, yesterday I was in Sondu, incognito. I spent the day there. And I agree with Senator Muma. It's a serious matter, but it can be resolved. It is not really complicated. And therefore, going forward, in the next 2 weeks, I'll be requesting the leaders from the 2 counties to help us. By that time, we'll have known who to invite and who not to invite. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable CS. Majority Leader.
Now, is it because I've been mentioned, Mr. Speaker? And I hope I will cut the stack that will be found worthy to appear before the meeting. Mr. Speaker, I want to appreciate the CS for finding time to come to respond. As a Majority Leader Emeritus, who used to sit on this chair when I first came to this house, it is always good to have him back in the house and respond to us. Mr. Speaker, the question that I wanted to ask has been ably responded to after being asked by Senator Catherine Muma on this issue of Sondu border issue, which we feel that we need to put behind our back, Mr. Speaker, because I know that it's something that is of concern to the 2 counties of Kericho and Kisumu. So I will pass the opportunity to other senators who want, because the question I wanted to ask is what Senator Muma has asked. But nonetheless, I celebrate the CS for the good work that he's doing. It was very reassuring to hear of the equipment that he's procuring, Mr. Speaker, on the behalf of our officers. Many times, Mr. Speaker, we only speak of loss of lives in reference to civilians, but we forget that police officers are also human beings. Many of them are brothers, sisters, fathers, and relatives. So it's quite reassuring to hear the CS speak of the modernization program that they are carrying out to ensure that we mitigate and reduce to almost zero loss of life by police officers in the course of their duty. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Majority Leader, for your compliments and comments to the Honorable CS. We have done, Honorable Members, 25 minutes to this question. I would, yes, 25, which is beyond the 20 that we had given. Senator Chute, your last very short supplementary question so that we close on this and move to the next question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Allow me to agree greatly with the CS on the NPR issue. I know they are doing a very good job, and I agree with him. And also they are supplementing heavily and greatly in helping the police officers in northern and upper eastern part of Kenya. What I wanted to know from the CS, Mr. Speaker, is what measures have they put in place to support the NPRs on insuring them as personal insurance, and also giving them some small token as a salary from 15 to 20,000 shillings. If they have that kind of initiatives, I would want to know, and how is it going to help our NPRs? Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable CS, kindly respond.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in response, I would like to inform the House that the NPRs continue to do a great job in securing the communities from where they come from. At the moment, we give them a token of 5,000 shillings a month, which has been described as inadequate, and we agree it's inadequate, but because of budgetary constraints, it has not been able to review that allowance forward. We are actually fighting to have it released timeously, because sometimes it has been taken 2-3 months before it is released, before we can even thinking of reviewing it upwards. But I'm a great supporter, as the security minister, I'm a great supporter of enhanced allowances for NPRs. We are also looking at the permutations to see whether we, this financial year, can put the NPRs on NHIF medical cover, so that to improve on their welfare.
Thank you, Honorable CS. Honorable members, that brings us to a closure on question number 26. I'm going to call upon Senator James Murango to ask question number 32, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed, Senator Murango. We are running.
Yes, Speaker, I'm proceeding. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, again, I want to thank you, the CS, and I'll ask one question: whether the Cabinet Secretary is aware of the kidnappings that have been happening along Makutano-Sagan Highway in Kirinyaga County for the last 2 years, where 11 children has been reported missing without a trace. And B, could the Cabinet Secretary provide an update on the status of investigation into the cases which have been reported at Sagana, Kiamashiri and Wanguru police stations? And C, what measures is the government taking to strengthen security in the area, to end kidnappings, and bring to book the perpetrators of the heinous act? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS proceeds to respond to the question by Senator Murango.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in response to question number 032 by the Senator for Kirinyaga County, I would like to inform the House that for the last 2 years, which is the period for which he has asked for information, we have had 6 cases of missing persons who are claimed to have been abducted by their relatives, or rather the claims have been, reports have been made by their relatives that they have been abducted. And the following 6 have been reported at Kerogoya, Mutito, Kagumo, and Kiamariri police stations since November 2021. They include the following: 1, OB 25-2301-2023 at Kerogoya police station, Susan Waithera, aged 15 years, left her mother at a salon and to an unknown destination, but was reported to have resurfaced on 25th May 2023. Number 2, the other case which has been reported is OB number 31-18-12-2022, which was reported at Mutito police station. Peter Mogo, aged 40 years, he left home to an unknown destination and was later found dead. And from the examination, he was a victim of a fatal hit-and-run road traffic accident. Number 3, OB number 16/23/11/22, reported at Kagumo police station. Emily Wawera, 15 years old, left Kiarida Secondary School at about 17:00 hours, but did not arrive home. She came home 2 days later, although it was reported as an abduction. The next one, number 4, OB number 25/25/07/2022. Again at Mutito police station, Anne Wangoi, aged 18 years, left home to see a friend within Kerogoya Township, but failed to return home. She was later traced in Nairobi on 29 September 2022 and escorted back home. Number 5, OB number 21/28/8/2022 reported at Kerogoya Police Station, Mase Wanjiro Irungu, aged 17 years, left home for Kaderi Market to buy items but disappeared and was later traced in Nairobi and escorted back home. Finally, the 6th one, reported as OB number 12/09/11/2021 at Kiamashiri Police Station. Bless Ann Wangeshi Maina went missing on her way back from school. The victim has never been traced to date, and the case is still pending under investigations. Honorable Speaker, the government takes abduction very seriously and is therefore inviting any person who has information that can assist the police in the investigations to volunteer the same, and the same will be treated with confidence in order to bring accountability to the outstanding cases which I have listed here and others across the country that fall in the similar category. Honorable Speaker, the government is employing or has employed the following measures to enhance security and bring to book the perpetrators of these abductions and disappearances. 1, we have intensified both foot and mobile patrols along the highway. Along that highway, we have increased the patrols. B, we have expedited the investigations into all reported cases of missing persons. 3, police are working closely with members of the public to engage reporting of missing persons in time. In other words, we are investing in better police-public relationship as the solution to ensuring that cases like this are investigated and culprits are arrested, because the public holds the key to successful investigations and arrests. D, sensitizing communities on the importance of sharing intelligence and prompt reporting whenever there is an incident. Number 5, we have revitalized community policing, a Nyumba Kumi initiative in the area in order to enhance information sharing. And finally, members of the public are continuously being sensitized to be sensitive to security. We must sensitize our members to be conscious of their own security, not to go to places unless they are sure about the environment, and to report suspicious persons likely to be criminals. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable CS. Senator Murango, you have any supplementary question? Give him the microphone, clerk. Thank you.
Asante tena Mstahiki Spika, kwa maswali ya ziada tauliza maswali mawili tu. Waziri, mnamo mwezi wa Februari mwaka huu kuna ndugu wawili ambao waliuliwa na ukaleta taarifa katika hili bunge. Ndugu wawili waliouliwa kinyama pale, na kutoka wakati huo hatujasikia kulifanyika vipi. Kwa hivyo swali langu ni, je, wale watu wanaouliwa, ndugu Harisa, ndugu Andamu waliouliwa, uchunguzi umefika wapi? Kwa sababu hatujasikia toka Februari mambo inafanyika. Na swali langu lingine la mwisho, kwa sababu sitaki kukuambia mambo ya wizi wa ng'ombe ambao unaendelea Kirinyaga. Kuna jambo lilifanyika kule Kirinyaga kuhusu kiongozi mwanamke wa bunge la kaunti la Kirinyaga ambao alishambuliwa na watu wanaojulikana, wengine ni wafanyikazi katika kaunti ya Kirinyaga kama polisi wa manispaa. Lakini toka siku hiyo wale watu bado wanarandaranda kule, wanakenjeri viongozi kule. Katika uchunguzi wa yale maneno, kwa sababu ni mambo ya aibu, umefika wapi na tunatarajia lini kwamba hatua itachukuliwa kwa wale watu? Asante sana Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS, could you respond to the supplementary questions?
Mr. Speaker, sir, in response to the supplementary questions by Senator Murango, I would like to request for 7 days to file a written response, one on the status of investigations on the two brothers that the Honorable is Murango is pursuing. I would plead that that request be made in writing, so that the names of the deceased, so that I can give a status report in 7 days. Number two, also, with regard to the attack on the women rep for Kirinyaga, I would also plead for time to file a written response to the Senate within 7 days.
Thank you, Honorable CS. Senator Dulo, you had requested to have a supplementary question. I want to ask you to proceed and ask the CS.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'll ask quick questions since I had requested earlier on the 3 questions, which will be very fast. Number 1, CS, congratulations for the good job. I know you are up to task. We've served in this house together twice. You are up to task. So, Mr. Speaker, what I wanted to ask, number 1, on the recruitment of NPR, and again, Mr. Speaker, on the recruitment of chiefs. Mr. Speaker, and I know the PS is aware, there is too much politics around the recruitment of chiefs and also NPR within the counties. Is there a way the CS can work it out, that the recruitment of NPR and chiefs are done in a transparent manner, so that everybody can see the process is very transparent without politics? And actually, the people who are causing problem in these two processes are politicians, so that politicians are locked out completely, and the process is transparent, and members of public are satisfied with the whole process. That is number 1. I know you are smiling. You should be able to work out a strategy on that. Finally, Mr. Speaker, it's the issue of police who have overstayed in hardship areas. I know I've been in security sometimes back, and the policy has been, once you have served in a hardship area for 5 years, you are removed to go to other areas. But it has, these days, police officers take even more than 10 years to stay in a hardship area, until they have familiarized themselves with the community, and the work they are doing, they are not even taking it seriously. So can the CS implement the policy on the 5-year rule, so that the police officers in hardship areas, they are actually transferred to other areas, and others are posted to those areas? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Senator Dula. Honorable CS, could you respond to those questions?
Mr. Speaker, sir, it is true that is a policy on how long an officer should stay in one's position, in one station. But for a long time, that policy has not been implemented. It has now been decided that going forward, no officer who has served for more than 3 years should remain in the station they are serving. The signal went out 2 weeks ago, the day when the task force on police reforms presented their progress report to the president. And now it's part of the policy reforms that we have initiated, and we are expecting, we have given the police command a maximum of 60 days to make sure that all officers countrywide who have stayed for more than 3 years, not 5, must be transferred. Number 2, on the question of involvement of politicians in the appointment of chiefs and assistant chiefs, I agree. And I hope that the proposal by Senator Dulo is in sync with the proposal by the chairman of the Senate Security Committee, because the senator for Baringo, who is the chair of the Security Committee, recommended that there is need for public involvement, public participation in hiring of chiefs. But I don't think public involvement means involvement or meddling by politicians. It just means that the politicians, like everybody else, can also give their views, but the decision remains the decision of government. And I know what the Senator Dulo is pursuing is the actual meddling, where a politician wants to decide who becomes a chief. That is wrong. What we should encourage is public participation, including the participation of leaders, because they also have views, but the decision should perhaps involve more people. So those are some of the policy proposals that we are willing to look at, but on the 3-year transfer is mandatory. In fact, the directive by the government is that any officer after the 60 days who continues to resist or for whatever reason does not move to a new station, the salary will be stopped. It is that serious. And for those doing sensitive operations, normally we move them after 1 year because the kinetic work and operations they engage in are extremely demanding. After 1 year, we rotate them so that they serve, even if it's within the same sensitive operations, but in a different station every year. But for general police duties, 3 years you must move. If you don't move, we'll stop your salary.
Thank you very much, Honorable CS, for those responses. Honorable members, we will defer question number 11 and number 12 in the absence of Senator Kinyua. Similarly, we are going to defer question number 45 in the absence of Senator Lomenen, and I will ask Senator Chute to proceed to ask question number 54. Question number 54, Senator Chute, proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would start with the question number 54A. How many individuals have lost their lives as a result of terrorism attack in Kenya since the tragic bombing of American embassy in Nairobi by Al-Qaeda terrorists in 1998? Question B, Honorable Speaker, what measures has the government put in place to boost counter-terrorism efforts and safeguard the lives and property of Kenyan citizens? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Chute. Waziri, proceed to respond to the question by this Senator.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in response to question number 54 by the Senator from Marsabit, I would like to inform the House that the 1998 bombing of the Embassy of the United States of America in Nairobi which occurred on 7th of August 1998 around 11 a.m. resulted in the death of 213 Kenyans and 12 citizens of the United States of America. About 4,500 other persons were injured in various degrees. Our police agencies, the DCI, together with international agencies and American security agencies, have been involved in investigations, in the consequence of which arrest of several suspects have been done in Kenya, while arrests have also been done outside Kenya. One of the main suspects was Harun Fazul, who has never been arrested. The investigations reveal that this attack was perpetrated by Al-Qaeda, a group calling itself Al-Qaeda, and the planning was done in Khartoum, Sudan. The main planner in the attack was Mr. Harun Fazul, a citizen of the Republic of the Comoros, who had obtained a Kenyan national identification card fraudulently, and his acquisition of the Kenyan ID had been facilitated by government officials who were later charged in court. Mr. Speaker, sir, on the morning of the attack, Harun Fazul, together with others, drove a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device, VBIED, into the US Embassy, causing the above-named or mentioned fatalities and serious infrastructural damages. The motive of the attack was to hurt American interests in the region, as they also attacked the American embassy in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. It was orchestrated by Al-Qaeda terrorist organization led by Mr. Osama bin Laden, who is now dead. Mr. Speaker, sir, since 1998, US Embassy attack, approximately 500 lives have been lost through terror attack in the country. This includes the 213 fatalities of the 1998 attack, 201 Kenyans and 12 Americans, 67 people who died at the attack at Westgate Mall in 2014, the Garissa University attack in 2015 that led to the death of 148 persons, the Dusit attack in 2019 in Nairobi that led to the death of 21 civilians and 5 attackers, or 5 suicide bombers. And then the other numbers is a collection of the various civilians and members of the National Police Service and the Kenya Defense Forces who have died as a result of IED attacks in the war against terror in northeastern Kenya and Lamu County. Honorable Speaker, the following measures have been put in place to boost counter-terrorism efforts and safeguard the lives and property of the people of Kenya. First, the government has set up the Anti-Terrorism Police Unit, ATPU, which continues to do a fantastic job in thwarting the threats of terror on a continuous basis. The government has also established the National Center, the National Counterterrorism Center, to deal with research and also identification of terror threats, and also to deal with radicalization and countering radicalization, which is the main recipe for terrorists and the breeding of terror. We also have set in place a joint terrorism task force. Likewise, Kenya has a very robust financial reporting center whose mandate, among other things, is to track inflows and outflows of financial resources into our financial system. And occasionally, this financial reporting center has helped us to detect finances destined to the financing of terrorism, and we've been able to apprehend those resources. The government has also set up a modern Coast Guard, under the Kenya Coast Guard Services Act of 2018 or 2015, and therefore the Coast Guard is helping us police the Kenya's territorial waters, the internal waters of Kenya, and that helps to keep terror, which is transported by sea, at bay. Other than that, the government has established the Transnational Organized Crime Unit at the DCI and the Asset Recovery Agency, so that resources that are frozen on suspicion of being destined to finance terror are seized and forfeited to the Asset Recovery Agency. The government has also established a personal identification secure comparison and evaluating system in immigration services, PISES, which has worked very well, and we are in the process of even upgrading the PISES system with a modern API stroke PNR, Advanced Passenger Information stroke passenger name record system, including other upgradings that we want to do at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport and other main ports of entry to ensure that we keep terror at bay and we can be able to detect the movement of terrorists even before they start their journey into Kenya from wherever they are. This is what the PNI, the API stroke PNR will do. But at the moment, the PISES system has helped us big time. The other measure that we've taken, Honorable Speaker, is continuous training and deployment of specialized form units within the National Police Service. The main unit being the Special Operations Group, SOG, which continues to do a fantastic job in the fight against terror. And increasingly, we shall be using more of the same specialized units in the fight against hardcore banditry. And that is what has helped us stabilize places like Baragoi, which were notorious for banditry for a very long time. And going forward, the deployment of these specialized units will go a long way in eradicating banditry, even as we fight terror. We actually are of the opinion that the evolving forms of banditry are moving towards the definition of terrorism. And we've already registered successes in Baragoi and the Koloa Bridge area between Tiati and Elgeyo Marakwet. And we'll apply more of these specialized units even in the fight against banditry, chronic banditry. We also have the QRU, the Quick Response Unit, GSU, ASTU, which is the Anti-Stock Theft Unit, and others. And generally, those are the measures. And finally, we have enhanced, since the enactment of the Security Laws Amendment Act of 2014, multi-agency collaboration for improved efficiency so that the NIS, the National Police Service, the National Intelligence Service, even the Kenya Defense Forces, all institutions of our national security, whether internal security or the defense of our country, must work together, support each other, irrespective of their very specialized mandates. They must share their competencies and work towards resolving the issue of terror in our borders. So we are making good progress so far in terms of institutional arrangements in terms of legislation. The following are the legislative measures that has helped us to be able to control the threat of terror. One is the Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Act, which was lastly amended 1 month ago. Those amendments, some of them, will have great positive results in terms of the fight against terror. And very soon, we may have to designate a number of organizations that we believe are suspected of financing terror. We will, of course, follow the legal procedures for designation, and we hope we will be able to do that in the next 30 to 60 days. We have the Prevention of Terrorism Act, POTA, which has also helped us big time to be able to even detain hardcore suspects of terror longer than necessary to be able to process them within the law. We also have the Security Laws Amendment Act of 2014, the amendments to the Anti-Narcotic Drugs Act, amendments to the Refugee Act, amendments to the NGO Act, amendments to the Firearms Act, Cap 114, to control the proliferation of small arms and light weapons, amendment to the Kenya Citizenship and Immigration Act, to make it impossible for foreigners to infiltrate our country and cause terror. We have also enhanced local and international collaboration and partnerships through the multi-agency task force, especially through the Joint Terrorism Task Force. We have enhanced information sharing mechanism. We have enhanced financial regulation by the Central Bank of Kenya. We have also enhanced the deployment of modern technology in policing, including the use of Integrated Command Center, that is the IC3, the use of drones increasingly, especially now with the police modernization, equipment modernization program, and also facial and motor vehicle recognition capabilities. So, Honorable Speaker, the American fatalities and Kenyan employees of the U.S. Embassy affected by the bombing incidents were compensated, while no such consideration was given to the other Kenyan. And I know I'll be appearing before a committee set up by this House on this subject, I think in the next few days. So if I can be spared, because already this House is seized of the matter, and I've already given them a date when we'll appear and for interrogation on this matter of the Kenyans who were never compensated after the bombing in 1998. Allow me, as I end, just to add one extra matter, which is not part of my written statement, which is our continuous engagement in the fight against terror. Terror poses an existential threat to our country. We have all seen what has happened in the Middle East. One small gap in the fight against terror can have devastating effects. So we are not leaving anything for chance. We are concerned with the situation right now in Northeastern. I want to promise the country I will spend more time in Northeastern in the coming days and weeks, because we must bring back the situation and contain the situation that is evolving in that part of our country. The same with Lamu. And on Lamu, I think I had promised to be there from today, but I had to honor this House. I know I'm appearing again before many other committees of the National Assembly tomorrow, so I may have to postpone my journey for a while as I attend to these other obligations. But I can report to the country. We will fix the situation in Lamu. The terror that is being visited on the people of Lamu is unacceptable. And before the end of this week, in the next 2 days, the Ministry of Interior is going to publish those suspects that we consider to be the chief planners and those who bear the greatest responsibility in planning, financing and orchestrating the violence that has visited Lamu County in the recent weeks. And we will be calling on the people of Kenya to give us information, and we will reward information. We will reward financially information that can help us apprehend those dangerous criminals. In the alternative, we will be giving notice to those criminals to surrender to the authorities, to the nearest police station, to the nearest military camp, to the nearest government office within a given time frame. And we are going to do that announcement before Friday. In the alternative, if they do not surrender, we will look for them and we will find them. And when we find them, we will do what we must. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable CS, for your very elaborate questions. Honorable members, we are 14 minutes outside the time allocated for this particular question. That means we might have to lose out on the other business of the House. From my dashboard, members, I have got 10 requests. You will dislike the chair today, but for good reasons. I will only allow Senator Chute if there is any very burning supplementary question. But for the rest of the members, I'm afraid that the discretion that I will take is to facilitate us to transact the other business of the House that is pending, and it's ahead of us. I know we have got very important questions to the CS. The CS is available for us, not only today. He is available to us and to the House to answer to our questions. So to save time, Senator Chute, if you have any burning supplementary question directed to the CS, and we shall close at that, I'll give directions once your question is responded to by the CS.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I have two questions, very quick ones. One I'll give to Haji. The other one is a very quick one. First of all, let me...
Senator Chute, I have given directions. You cannot give out time without the chair. So ask your supplementary question, one question.
Okay, let me ask that question, Mr. Speaker. First of all, let me thank the CS for the elaborate answers, and also thank the CS for the new border post in Ileret. Thank you very much, Honorable CS. My question, Honorable CS, last week, the Minister for Defense was before this House, and he said any soldier that is killed in line of duty is paid 5 million Kenyan shillings and I'm guided. Thank you very much. 4 million shillings and $50,000 US if any officer dies outside this country. Honorable Speaker, I would want to ask the CS, if a police officer dies in line of duty, when in Kenya or outside Kenya, how much money? But by the way, the CS Defense said, within the first 30 days, they'll be paid 4 million shillings. When it comes to a police officer, how much are you paying a police officer within that first 30 days? And my other question on a CS is, have you ever thought of employing Morans and people in northern Kenya and upper eastern, those who are not educated, as police officers? Have you ever thought of recruiting those people so that the banditry issue, the menace we are having in those areas, can be controlled and curtailed? If so, if you have that plans, when are you going to execute or start? Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable CS, kindly respond to those supplementary questions.
Honorable Speaker, under the medical insurance scheme of the National Police Service, an officer who dies in the line of duty is entitled to a package which includes a one-off payment, which is equivalent to 8 years of gross salary. That also includes the funeral expenses, and therefore those officers who die in the line of duty are well taken care of under the medical insurance scheme of the National Police Service. What we are working on now is to go further and establish a benevolent fund. A benevolent fund for the families of the police officers who die in the line of duty. Because some of our best and most sophisticated officers in terms of combating dangerous criminals are fairly young officers. They've been trained, including abroad. We train them young. And we are going even to graduate a few more next week. And what happens is that and they have really helped us, but whenever they are unfortunately hurt by enemy fire, they leave very young families. And every year we commemorate the day when we respect our fallen officers every second week of December. I did make a commitment last year that this year I'll be making announcement on the benevolent fund, which fund, other than just the one-off compensation for families, can help us to have a revolving fund, which we want to put in place from the end of this year into early next year, where the families, the children, and the spouses of the fallen heroes can access scholarships, can access medical care when their loved ones are gone, while defending the country and defending the people of Kenya. And I think on that front, we'll be making that announcement. Finally, on the question of recruiting police officers who may not fall within the qualifications, it's a proposal we are looking at because the effort we have made in the fight against banditry and the fight against terror, some of the significant reasons for those gains are the specialized trained officers, but also the NPRs, who actually, many of them have not gone to much school. They may have gone to school, but they have not gone to much school. But they have done a fantastic job. And for difficult operations like in northeastern Kenya, the Boni Enclave, and upper northern Rift areas, upper eastern, it's a proposal we are entertaining. How between NPRs, we can also have police officers who may not have the academic qualifications to help us deal with very specific threats to our national security. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable CS. Honorable members, I would like to ask you to permit me to end this question time on that note and appreciate the CS. I still have got members who really need to ask questions, but as I said, the CS is available to us, he's available to this House, he's committed not today but before that he's going to take priority to attend to this House to respond to the questions. And Honorable CS, I must appreciate you for that, together with your team, and also for taking time to be present today to respond to the questions from the Senate. And on behalf of this House and the honorable members, I would like to thank you and thank your team. I note you are together with Beverly, whom I've worked before. I must appreciate the good work that she did while she was based in Bomet. And Honorable CS, you are welcome once again in the near future to answer to so many questions which members have got for your ministry. And we want to congratulate you on my part, and as the rest of the members here have appreciated you, we appreciate what you are doing in the ministry in supporting the House in delivering on its mandate to the people of Kenya and to the world at large. Thank you very much, Honorable CS. And with that, you are free to take leave from the House. and wish you a blessed day henceforth from here. Thank you very much. Okay, honorable members, we have got the next set of questions to CS for Sports, Honorable Namamba. He's being ushered in, so let us also be available. Senator Chute, I believe, and Cherargei are the people with questions. All right. Welcome, Honorable CS Ababu Namamba, to this house. We are sorry we've kept you for a little while, but it is because your colleague, Professor Kindiki, was here to answer to the questions that were also expected of him. Thank you for honoring to appear today. And in a short while, I'll call upon the members who've got questions to immediately take. I'm seeing honorable members. I believe these are requests with regards to the previous questions, but then there is an intervention. What is your point of order, Senator Cherargei?
Mr. Speaker, I don't know why the mics are not working today.
No, they are. I believe just you had requested, you had intervened. Approach the. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, just on a point of order, understanding order one. On 21st August 2023, the Cabinet Secretary of Youth, Sports and Arts did write a letter on 21st August 2023 to the Speaker of National Assembly and the Speaker of the Senate, which is you. And in that letter, Speaker Sir he indicated that he wanted to ask to answer the questions made by the leader of my majority in the National Assembly, Kimani Ichung'wah, and of course doing badly misspelling my name, Honorable Simon Cherargei. I don't know who is that, but let me assume it is me. It should be Samson Cherargei, Nandi Senator, which statements purpose to cast aspersions on the Ministry of Youth Affairs. So, Speaker, it was copied to, I don't want just to go to, copy to the Chief of Staff, Felix Kosgei, Senate Majority Leader, Senator Aaron Kipkirui Cheruyot, Majority Leader, National Assembly, Kimani Ichung'wah, Chairperson of Labor and Social Welfare, Julius Murkor, Honorable Dan Wanyama, Chairperson Sports, and of course, Senators, myself, yours truly. My question, Chair, would it be, is it in order for the CS to purport to direct to the Senate to come and answer question? I hope, I thought Parliament, there is a modus operandi on how Parliament operates. And this is the first time ministry that a Cabinet Secretary is directing you to come and answer questions. Mr. Speaker, is it in order, will the CS, for neatness of engagement, withdraw this letter, or do we want to stand by it? Because our modus operandi is we have mechanisms of invitation and engaging Cabinet Secretaries, among others, Mr. Speaker. Would it be in order that he withdraws this letter? Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Cherargei, about that letter. I'm just also making inquiries as to the letter itself that could have been submitted to the Office of the Speaker. But, Honorable CS, you are the originator of the letter. Do you want to comment on it now before the questions are asked so that we deal with that intervention? What is your point of order, Senator?
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, this is a question time, and it's supposed to be my question time now. And Honorable Cherge is taking, we don't have much time, you know.
Senator Chute,
please.
I take note of that. It was an intervention, so you will get your time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable CS.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Senators. Honorable Speaker, the correspondence that the Honorable Senator Cherargei refers to indeed is correspondence from myself, my ministry, and it was correspondence that was conveyed in good faith. Just for purposes of disclosure, this correspondence did come up when I appeared before the National Assembly, and I did indicate to the National Assembly that it was done in good faith, and I would have no problem at all in this House similarly to withdraw the same, Honorable Speaker, if that is the direction of the House.
Very well. So the letter stands withdrawn. Did I hear you well, CS, that you are withdrawing the letter from the record of this particular House?
You heard right, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. Thank you very much. So that letter, Honorable Cherargei, and for purposes of record, stands withdrawn. So we will then proceed to question number 51. Question number 51, Senator for Marsabit, Senator Mohammed Said Chute. Proceed to ask your question to the Honorable CS.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. My question is question 051. I'll start with question A. Could the Cabinet Secretary furnish the Senate with information regarding the tender process for the construction of Marsabit Stadium, indicating the total number of contractors that submitted the bids, who won the award, and the total value of the award bid? Question B, Mr. Speaker, was the construction of Marsabit Stadium a collaborative effort between the national government and the county government of Marsabit? And if so, could the Cabinet Secretary provide details of the prospective financial contributions made by each government? C, Honorable Speaker, could the Cabinet Secretary provide an update on the status of construction of stadium and indicate the expected date of completion, as well as any significant milestones achieved in the project so far? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chute. Honorable members, before I allow the CS to respond, as earlier on directed, we shall also stand by the directives earlier on given, so that we spend a maximum of 40 minutes in the questions to the CS. We have got only 2 questions, so I will still limit the number of members and supplementary questions that will be asked on the CS. And this limitation is because of the business that the House is expected to transact within the day. So, Honorable CS, kindly also in your response, directly get us to the answers to the question the Honorable Member has requested today. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me first of all appreciate the opportunity granted to our ministry to come shed light on these issues. And right from the outset, let me quickly also inform this Honorable House that this Marsabit Stadium is one among a number of stadia that stalled about 3-4 years ago, in 2019 to be specific. The other stadia, including Wote Stadium in Makueni, Karatu Stadium in Kiambu, Ruringu Stadium in Nyeri, Kipchoge Keino Stadium in Uasin Gishu, and Kamarin Stadium in Elgeyo Marakwet County. Honorable Speaker, we have done an assessment in the last 1 year that we've been in office, and we did take note of a number of factors that could have contributed to the stalling of this particular stadium in Marsabit, alongside the others that I have mentioned. And those factors included difficulties, what we can call haphazard and coherent selection of projects, project prioritization, which had challenges, and not taking time to ensure that as you prioritize a project, you actually have sufficient funds to finance that project, as is the requirement. And based on this assessment, Honorable Speaker, the ministry has made 2 important interventions, which I would invite the House to take note of. Number 1, we invited the Auditor General to conduct an audit to empirically determine the cause for the stalling of these projects, given that a significant sums of money were spent on these projects. And indeed, I can confirm to this House that that audit is going on. Marsabit Stadium, alongside these other stadia, are being audited. And the progress report we have is that the audit should be concluding anytime soon. The second intervention we made, Honorable Speaker, is that we took time to prepare a comprehensive sports infrastructure master plan. And I'm pleased to inform this House that today, for the first time in the history of Kenya, the country now has a substantive, comprehensive, well thought out master plan to guide the development of infrastructure in sports and the creative industry. We are convinced that within this master plan, we should be able to complete Marsabit Stadium and the other stadia that are stalled. Because this master plan has 3 pillars: sorting our international level stadia, making sure that our regional stadia are of the required standard, and then investing heavily in community grounds, including academies. Allow me now, Honorable Speaker, to go to the specific question raised by the Honorable Senator Shute. We have information that has been supplied by Sports Kenya. Honorable Speaker, Sports Kenya is the agency that is responsible for sports facilities in the country. And the information we have is that this particular project was undertaken under the Public Procurement and Disposal Act 2025. It is started with an advertisement inviting the tender, and this advertisement was put on the website of Sports Kenya. And then at the closure of the advertisement, assessment was then done in accordance with that law. And we have provided the details of how the 7 bidders were assessed. And the 7 bidders were Prestige Remote Land, Arid Lands Construction Company Limited, Themas Construction Company Limited, Funan Construction, Frontier Engineering, Benissa Limited, and Parbat Siani Construction Limited. Upon assessment, a decision was taken by the evaluation committee that this project be awarded to the lowest bidder. And in this case, it was Benissa Limited, who bid at 295 million Kenya shillings, 236,215 shillings. And therefore, this project, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Senators, was awarded to Benissa Limited. And from the information we have on record, that was in line with the Public Procurement and Disposal Act of 2015. And that decision is on record. With regard to the second question, as to whether there was partnership between the county government of Marsabit and the national government, the answer is yes, that the county government did have a share of the whole project, and the investment was principally around the VIP pavilion, what is called in the project details as the Western Stand in the project details. The national government took responsibility for constructing the southern stand, the athletics track, a football pitch, the ticketing booths, the underground water tank, septic tank, driveways and walkways at that figure of 295,236,215 Kenya shillings. it is also indicated from the record from this period, Honorable Speaker, that there was a variation in the process of this project. This variation was apparently necessitated by the need to increase seating capacity and the need to finish the sub-base of the athletics track using concrete rather than marram as initially projected in the project design. And the result was that a variation then raised the project cost by 71 million Kenya shillings, 767,000, occasioning the total budget cost to jump to 367 million Kenya shillings. And this, from the project records, was characterized as phase 1 of this project. This is the phase that the national government then handled as in partnership with the county government. Phase 2 of this project has not commenced yet, and the reason, of course, was that this project then stalled in 2019, and it remained in limbo from 2019 to 2022, when our administration came into office, and we quickly looked at this project alongside the other project that I have mentioned, including Karatu in Kiambu, Wote in Makueni, Kamarin in Elgeyo Marakwet, Kipchoge Keino in Uasin Gishu. And we determined that it was important in public interest to subject these projects to a special audit, and also to complete these projects in the context of a master plan. And so the status today is that the project remains frozen until the audit is concluded, and it will be completed in the context of the master plan. The total projected project cost was 951 million Kenya shillings, 825,128, to complete the whole project as designed. Responding to question D, in terms of an update, the status of construction and expected date of completion, I can report to this Honorable House that Sports Kenya, through the contractor Banisa, undertook phase 1 of this project. And as I've already put on record, it included the southern stand, the track of athletics, synthetic turf, pitchways, driveways, pitchworks, walkway parking with marram, finish, ticketing booths, powerhouse, underground water tank, septic tank, and VIP entrance. It is reported from the project record that there was failure with the borehole that had been sunk to supply water for watering the pitch. And apparently a decision was then made by the board of Sports Kenya that the grass pitch, or what was initially planned as the grass pitch, should subsequently be changed to an artificial football turf. And as I've already indicated, Honorable Speaker, this project has been subjected by the ministry itself to a special audit, and that special audit, as well as the sports infrastructure master plan that the ministry has developed, will guide completion of this project. Indeed, I have attached in my submissions, the file that I have attached, I've submitted to the House. Honorable Speaker, the very last attachment is a letter from myself dated January 11th, 2023, and a referenced request for a special audit of infrastructure projects and programs at the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Sports and the Arts. And I wrote that letter to the Auditor General. Indeed, I handed this letter to the Auditor General myself in person. And The purpose of that letter was to invite the Auditor General to look at a number of projects and programs which had challenges and where we needed the Office of the Auditor General to guide. There is also a response from the Office of the Auditor General dated 27 February 2023, in which the Auditor General acknowledges receiving my request, and from that correspondence, the process of the special audit then commenced, and we expect that process to conclude. The ultimate goal really is to meet the needs and expectations of this community by providing them with a modern and fully functional stadium facility constructed within the tenets of value for money. We will continue to provide progress updates. As soon as this special audit is concluded, we have every intention as a ministry to complete this particular stadium alongside other stalled projects that are on record here, because public funds have already been expended. And in the context of our very robust, very progressive, transformative agenda under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda for sports and the creative industry, we believe completing these facilities will be useful in realizing the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable CS, for that particular response to the questions by Senator Chute. I have in my dashboard 3 requests, Senator Kisang, Senator Abbas, and Senator Alden Dulo. I will ask, yes, Majority Leader, what's your point of order?
Apologies, Chair. Give me a mic. Apologies, Chair. Ordinarily, it is within your space to guide the House. But I have noted in the morning, when you give members the opportunity to seek supplementary questions, very few of them stick to supplementary questions related to the specific question. If that's the tradition, then wouldn't it be in order, Mr. Speaker, to allow the senators that have first listed questions to complete on theirs? Then you open the floor, because ideally, by practice, and it's been said, that later on the cabinet minister who comes responds to all the supplementary questions together, so that we first give priority to the senators who had questions on the order paper. I beg your indulgence, Chair, if you so agree.
Thank you, Majority Leader. And indeed, that is true, and especially because of the business that is awaiting this House to transact today. I'm aware there is another question by Senator Cherargei, which also the Honorable CS is expected to respond to. And in that particular context, I will ask the Honorable Cherargei to ask his question, so that once it's responded to, I go back to Senator Chute to have his second and supplementary question, as well as the rest of the members whose requests have already been noted here. Proceed, Senator Cherargei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for that guidance. I ask question number 053. Mr. Speaker, as per the question 053, question 1A, could the Cabinet Secretary provide information on the facilitation of Team Kenya's participation in the World Athletics Championship in Budapest, particularly by the Sports, Arts and Social Development Fund, disclosing details of sponsorship agreements, athletics selection process, and amounts expended in the purchase of uniforms and air tickets and paid as allowance and rewards to each participant. So, Speaker, sir, number 2, could the Cabinet Secretary, or part B, could the Cabinet Secretary provide the details of the financial management, including the book of accounts for grants and subsidies, as well as the latest report on the disbursements and procurement processes within the Sports, Art and Social Development Fund? So, Speaker, sir, number C, how is the leadership structure of the fund established? And could the Cabinet Secretary explain the recruitment procedure of the Chief Executive Officer or the CEO? Number D, Mr. Speaker, sir, what actions has the ministry taken to enhance compliance with the legal and ethical standards at the sports fund, specifically with regard to previously reported allegations of financial irregularities? I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Senator Samson Cherargei, for your questions. Honorable CS, kindly respond to the questions by Cherargei, then we'll revert to the earlier question with other supplementary questions in the 2 questions that you will have responded to. Proceed.
I thank you, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Senators. Let me use this opportunity, really, Honorable Speaker, to applaud our Team Kenya that represented the country in Budapest, where they emerged the best country in Africa and the 5th overall globally, which was exemplary performance, and performance that has continued to improve, including their performance in Riga, the latest one being the world record by Kelvin Kiptum in the Chicago Marathon last weekend. With regard to the Budapest assignment, let me break down the Honorable Senator's questions in chewable little bits and start with the selection of Team Kenya. Honorable Speaker, Team Kenya was selected. Team Kenya to the World Athletics Championship was selected through a public process, public selection, or what they normally call trials, conducted by the Athletics Kenya, the federation responsible for athletics in the country. And this was a public process conducted on July 7 and 8 this year. We were present for this process. I attended day 1 of the trials, and the Principal Secretary for the State Department of Sports, Engineer Peter Tum, attended day 2 of the trial. So we were quite involved and engaged in observing that process. I can also confirm to this Honorable House that all the requirements to do with EDAC, the Anti-Doping Agency of Kenya, the Athletics Integrity Unit, AIU, all those requirements with regard to anti-doping were observed. There was a selection panel that presided over this exercise, and that panel consisted of officials mostly from Athletics Kenya, who from that list, Mr. Paul Mutui as the chairman, Mr. Mutui is a senior vice president of Athletics Kenya, Mr. Barnaba Korir, who is the youth development, the officer responsible for youth development in Athletics Kenya. Patrick Sang is a fine decorated coach in the athletics fraternity. John Kimeto, Milka Chemos. Milka herself is an athletics legend in her own right. Kenneth Tanui, Charlotte Kurgoy, Stephen Mwaniki, and Fredo Wundo. Those were the team that presided over the selection of this team. I have also provided details, Honorable Speaker, on the requirements for selection, and it is quite a long list. In the interest of time, I'm conscious of your direction, Honorable Speaker, but we have provided details there, including the particular elements or the particular requirements that this selection team applied in picking the team. The criteria is detailed in segment 2 of my response, and pretty much it is normally a process that that normally does not require the opening of any servers, Honorable Speaker, in the sense that it is open, it's on the track. The first two to cross the finish line are normally automatically selected. So it is very clear, it's very obvious. There is also normally a process where you can qualify through posting impressive time, through races that are keenly observed by Athletics Kenya as the body responsible. So that is the whole process, Honorable Speaker. In brief, I'm truncating my presentation to save on time, but that in brief is the process that led to our Team Kenya, that then we prepared to go to Budapest. And I can confirm to this House that the team was presented to the ministry after being selected, and we did have a major ceremony to hand them the national flag and to formally flag them off at the ministry headquarters. In terms of the financials, the budget expended on this assignment, we have provided a breakdown on page 10 of our submission, and we spent a total of 147,299,127 Kenya shillings on this particular assignment, broken up as follows. We spent 36,697,296 on allowances for this team, and all these allowances, I can confirm to this Honorable House, have been paid. We also had a homecoming ceremony when this team arrived back, and that ceremony for the team cost 466,000 Kenya shillings. The tickets for the team to fly to and from Budapest cost 76,856,450 Kenya shillings. Accommodation expenses out of country in Budapest cost 11,679,381. And then we had cash rewards, amounting to 21,600,000. And Honorable Speaker, I will invite honorable members to look at. Thank you, Senator. To look at an attachment we have provided on the schedule of cash awards, and I want to confirm to this House that one of the areas where the ministry, the government has done exceedingly well is to revise the whole reward scheme. Previously, the reward scheme has been extremely low. The payments have been unpredictable. You may want to know, for instance, Honorable Speaker, that last August, we held a ceremony where we were clearing allowances and cash rewards owed to athletes going back 11 years, amounting to 25 million shillings. Meaning that for 11 years, an athlete who represented Kenya has been waiting for their allowances, for their cash award for 11 years. We were able to settle that in August. But significantly, we also used that opportunity to reward some of our top legends and to improve the entire framework for rewards. And so, for the breakdown of that 21,600,000 reward money was applied according to the new scheme as follows. Gold medal was gold medal. We had 2 gold medalists. Faith Kipyegon, who won we had 3 gold medals. 2 gold medals for Faith Kipyegon and 1 gold medal for Mary Moraa. We also had 3 silver medals for Emmanuel Wanyonyi, Beatrice Chepkoech, Daniel Simiyu Ebenyo, and 4 bronze medals, won by Faith Cherotich, Beatrice Chebet, Jacob Krop, and Abraham Kibiwot. Those are the areas where rewards were expended in terms of the rates in our new scheme, which I will come to shortly. So in terms of the budget, the expenditure on this particular assignment, it all comes down to 147 million Kenya shillings. The team returned after Budapest and was received by the ministry at JKIA. We had a ceremony to award them these cash awards or cash rewards. And this is a ceremony we hosted at the Talanta Plaza offices of the ministry. And the ceremony was indeed graced by His Excellency the President himself, who presented these cash awards to the athletes, as per the list that has been provided. There was also a question on uniforms, and Honorable Speaker, it will be important for this House to note that as far as athletics is concerned, Athletics Kenya and the National Olympics Committee of Kenya, the two bodies that manage this space, have an agreement with Nike as a branding partner, and it is that partner who normally kits Team Kenya to this kind of competitions. And therefore, the kitting is not something that then we spend money on. It is done under the kitting agreement between the two federations and Nike. We have provided two annexes, which I would refer the House to. Annex 1, which provides details on allowances and the cash rewards, and Annex 2, which provides details on the tickets. Let me really emphasize how significant it is, Honorable Speaker, that when we came to office, we made the transformative decision to revise the reward scheme for the entire sports ecosystem, raising rates for both allowances and cash rewards. Allowances have been tripled from 1,000 Kenya shillings to 3,000 for local camping. That is when the athletes are in camp. After the team is selected, they go into a local camp. Ordinarily, previously, they were being paid 1,000 shillings a day. We have raised that to 3,000 shillings a day while they're in camp here. We also raised the rate when they are in competition, when they have traveled, like when they were in Budapest. And that we raised from $60 US dollars to $200 US dollars as a daily stipend to the athletes. And those rates are already being applied. We have also introduced a new cash award of 5 million for breaking a world record. Previously, there was no provision whatsoever for breaking a world record. You broke a world record, you had some mursik and danced to some iskuti at the JKIA, and then you went home. But now we have a new arrangement where every world record is rewarded with 5 million Kenya shillings. And Faith Kipyegon and Kelvin Kiptum have already benefited from this new scheme. We also significantly raised the rewards for medal winners to 3, 2, and 1 million for gold, silver, and bronze. For gold, now you get 3 million, 2 million for silver, and 1 million for bronze, respectively. We have also introduced the Hongera Awards, which, among other firsts, rewarded legends going back to the 1960s, and also settled 25 million shillings in cash rewards arrears going back 11 years ago. It was really, really incredulous that athletes who competed for this country 11 years ago are still waiting for their allowances. I'm glad to report to this House that we have settled that in full. We have also opened a Hall of Fame to honor Kenya's sporting and creating greats. And at the Talanta Plaza, you can actually now walk through a Hall of Fame, right from greats like the late Wilson Kiprugut Arap Chumo, the first Kenyan to win an Olympics medal for this country, all the way to the current greats like Faith Kipyegon and Mary Moraa, which we believe is a fitting legacy, a fitting honor to our athletes. Quickly now to go to the question on the management, the financial management, including the book of accounts for grants and subsidies, as well as the latest report on disbursement and procurement processes within the Sports, Arts and Social Development Fund. Honorable Speaker, I want to report to this Honorable House that over the last 5 years, this fund has realized total revenues from betting activities, because this is a betting levy, amounting to 48 billion Kenya shillings. And the fund has, in that period of 5 years, disbursed 41 billion 793,444,631 in that 5-year period. Of that disbursements, records do indicate that the sports sector got 65%, 30% to the social development sector, and 5% to arts and culture. Social development includes healthcare, include education, and among the areas that the fund has supported, for instance, is the rollout of UHC, the school feeding program in schools. Those are some of the social development interventions that the fund has supported in that period. In the last financial year, 2022-2023, the fund had revenues of 10,427,518,883. And the Oversight Board, which is the organ responsible for authorizing disbursement, approved disbursement amounting to 7,951,585 to various sectors. 6.3 billion to sports, 1.2 billion to social development, and 324 million to culture and the arts sector. We have annexed to this submission the audited financial statement for the financial year 2021-2022, which is marked as Annex 3, summary of revenue and disbursements to various sectors from the year 2018-2019 to the financial year 2022-2023. All those are provided as annexes to these submissions. And as far as procurement is concerned, this is done ordinarily under the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act of 2025 and the regulation thereunder of 2020. Let me now move on to the leadership of the fund. Honorable Speaker, the leadership or the management of this fund is established under the Public Finance Management Act, Sports, Arts and Social Development Fund regulations of 2018. And you have the highest decision-making organ of the fund is the Oversight Board. The Oversight Board is constituted by the Principal Secretary responsible for Finance, National Treasury, the Principal Secretary responsible for Sports, the Principal Secretary responsible for the Arts, the Principal Secretary responsible for Health, the Principal Secretary responsible for Education, one person not being a public officer nominated by the CS, responsible for sports, another one nominated by the CS for health, and the third nominated by the CS for treasury or finance. The chairperson of the board is ordinarily appointed from amongst these three independent board members. Below that board, you have the CEO, administrator, and secretariat of the fund, and this is the team that now does the day-to-day management of the fund. Honorable Speaker, the recruitment of the Chief Executive Officer or the CEO of the fund is also contained in Regulation 12.2 of the Legal Notice number 194. According to this regulation, the CEO is appointed through a competitive process by the board, and this has to be done in consultation with the Public Service Commission. And in accordance with this regulation, the Oversight Board of the fund advertised for the CEO position on April 25 and conducted a competitive recruitment process in consultation with the Public Service Commission. The appointment of a substantive CEO was made in compliance with Regulation 12.2 of the Public Finance, Management, Sports and Arts Social Development Regulations 2018. And so I can confirm to this House that this process was open, it was competitive, it was transparent, it was accountable, and we believe it gave the best output or the best officer that we could find. We have provided details, again, as annexes, and there is a copy of the advert inviting applications for Kenyans to apply for this position when we opened it up. Those details are annexed. Question number D, and that is the final question, is on the measures that the ministry has taken to enhance compliance with the legal and ethical standards of the fund, specifically with regard to previously reported allegations of financial irregularities. And I can report to this Honorable House that the Oversight Board, we have taken some institutional measures. One of the challenges we found when we came to office a year ago was that the board was not properly constituted. And you know the board bears the primary oversight responsibility. We have moved with haste to make sure that the board is now fully constituted, it has full membership, and it has a chair, as required by the law and by the regulations. We also found a situation where the CEO had been in acting capacity for years, which of course is not good for performance, is not good for accountability, is not good for certainty and predictability. And that is something we fixed. Now we have a permanent CEO competitively recruited who can now focus all his attention on leading the management of the fund. We have also gone out of our way to make sure that the fund is autonomous, the fund is transparent, it's accountable. We have had unfortunate scenario in the past of attempts to interfere with the independence or autonomy of this fund. We now have a situation where the fund is functioning autonomously as should be the case. The board is now streamlining the management, and they're taking full responsibility as required by the law. We have provided annexes, Annex 3 and Annex 4. Annex 3 is a summary of revenues and disbursements to the various sectors which I have mentioned, and Annex 4 is the advertisement for the position of the Chief Executive Officer. Let me just conclude by saying that the fund is ordinarily subjected to continuous internal audits and annual external audits by the Office of the Auditor General. These audits look at financial records, operations of the fund. They identify discrepancies, irregularities, and provide recommendations for intervention. I want to assure this House that the Ministry will continue to ensure that audit queries that arise are subjected to oversight and action, and as the Cabinet Secretary, I will continue to take responsibility to ensure that the fund abides by the law and the regulations as expected of me. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Senators, we're going to take supplementary questions, and I would ask that you keep your questions very brief. And Cabinet Secretary, also, when you're responding to these questions, if you could also keep it brief and precise. Senator Kisang.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, my supplementary question is to the CS regarding Kamareny Stadium and Kipchoge Stadium. In his response earlier, he said that there is a special audit that is going on. I wanted to know how long will this special audit take? And secondly, when the audit is completed, are you promising this House that next financial year you are going to allocate resources so that all the stalled stadiums will be restarted? Because we have waited for these particular stadiums for long. You know, it's been there, it's close to 10 years now, on and off. And it looks like nothing much is coming out.
Yes, you can respond.
I can confirm to the Honorable Senator that we are in constant touch with the Office of the Auditor General. We have information, latest being this morning, that this audit is right at the tail end. We expect that this audit should be concluded in no more than a month. We will be liaising. Of course, I must also admit to the House that the Office of the Auditor General is an independent constitutional office which cannot be directed, including on timelines, but we have impressed upon them. Even if you look at my letter, which I have attached, we did request for expedition to conclude it in good time. We hope it will be done in good time. And as soon as it's concluded, we will be swinging into action immediately. I can also confirm to the Honorable Senator that we have every plan, every intention to complete all the stalled stadia. Indeed, when you look at the sports infrastructure master plan that I have referenced or have referred to, it sets 3 targets. Target number 1 is to return Kenya to international competitiveness by rejigging and improving our international facilities. Number 2 is to have quality regional stadia, starting with the stalled ones. And number 3, to invest in community grounds that will also host community academies. That is my guarantee, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, CS. Abbas Sheikh Mohammed, Senator.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, my question to the CS is that what are the plans? Because in my county, Wajir, and the neighboring counties, there are no proper studies. They are actually small ones and not well done. As you're aware, there are many youth who are unemployed, and sports actually is one of the things that nurtures the talents of the people, the youth. And of late, you know, the many of people, youth have been back to taking drugs. They are now recruited in funny places like Al-Shabaab and these things. And the best way to keep these youth is actually in the sports. So I'm asking the minister what plan he has for those areas. 2, I'm seeing most of the times the stadiums are actually neglected.
Senator Abbas. Senator Abbas, you only allowed 1 supplementary question.
Well, it's just
so I will ask
the same questions, not 2, but the same things, stadia things. Not really, yeah? Let me finish, yeah? I'm saying the stadiums are actually not well managed in most places and they're neglected. So the stadiums coming under the counties, or it comes to the office, and I think the most appropriate thing will be to engage some of these youth to take over the management of the stadiums. Finally, I want to thank you and your ministry for recruiting the CEO, Brother No, I know it's not known to me. He's a well-qualified and a young man, well-schooled and qualified, and meets actually the position he takes, that he's actually qualified for that. And I want to tell my brother Sergei that No is actually a stakeholder and he owns shares in the company. Thank you.
CS, please.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Senator Abbas. I want to agree that definitely in the distribution of sporting facilities, the northeastern region of this country has not received its due consideration. And that is why, Honorable Speaker, we have made the transformative decision to now develop infrastructure in the context of a master plan, so that we don't do it at individual whim, where a person decides this one will go to this corner. We have done a master plan that provides empirical logic why we would put a facility in Marsabit, why we would put one in Garissa or Mandera. And in the context of that master plan, the long wait by the northeastern region for sporting facilities will definitely come to an end. And I want to assure you that through the Talanta Hela program, for instance, we have seen sporting activities in Wajir, in Mandera, in Garissa, greatly limited by the limitations around facilities. So it is something we have already experienced, and I want to assure Senator Abbas that this will receive due, indeed it is receiving due consideration. With regard to the necessity to engage young people, I do agree with the Honorable Senator that left unengaged or left on their own, there's always the risk of drugs, the risk of radicalization, and many other challenges. And that is why we are being very deliberate, very intentional, very structured in growing talents from the best. The reason behind our revolutionary Talanta Hela initiative and all the counties of Kenya, including Mandera, Garissa, Wajir, and that whole belt of the northern region is fully incorporated in the Talanta Hela program. Every part of this country has to get the opportunity to be part of development in sports. And of course, we are also happy that the competitive, very transparent, very accountable process gave this country a fine Kenyan young man from that region who we believe is up to the task of delivering in this position. I thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, CS. Senator Fatuma Dulo.
Chair, Mr. Speaker, thank you very much, and CS, welcome to the Senate. First, let me say congratulations to one competitor who was against me in the last race of Senate in the name of Nur Mohammed, that I'm happy the government has given him an opportunity to serve in the fund. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to ask CS, of course, Senator Abbas has asked about the counties. 2013, the government of Kenya has promised to build stadia in most of the counties. And if I may speak for Isiolo County, we have a very small stadium that is being constructed by the county government. And I think maybe in future, the county government or national government should be able to work together with county government to come up with a better stadium so that you complement each other and come up with a proper stadium that will serve Kenyans. Finally, Mr. Speaker, if you can allow me, if you don't cut me short, just one more question on the other second part. Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to know how are the projects identified by the sports fund to be financed by the board? Thank you.
CS.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and through you, thank you, Senator Fatma. I want to confirm and to admit that the promise of 2013 on sporting facilities was not fulfilled. That is a fact that we cannot run away from. But also to confirm to this Honorable House that we now have a new administration, new leadership, new sheriff in town with a new style of doing things. And our style is called Bottom-Up Economic Transformation Agenda, which is very, very focused on transforming the fortunes of this land, every corner of this land, every blade of grass, every grain of sand, bottom up, meaning that all the corners of this country are guaranteed investment in all sectors, including this sector of sports. And to agree with Senator Fatma that indeed it will be good, and I want to urge the leadership of counties to work with the national government in developing sporting facilities. This ensures standardization. I can confirm to this House that we have been out there to look at some of the stalled facilities that were initiated by the county. Let me give the example of Bomet. We went to look at Bomet Stadium, and the manner in which that project was conceived and deployed by the county can tell you that it could have been done a lot better if it had been done in partnership with the national government in terms of standards. And I can confirm here also that we have taken the initiative to approach a number of counties. For instance, we have agreed formally with the county government of Kakamega on completion of Buhungu Stadium, and we have agreed on a certain way of doing it in a manner that meets CAF and FIFA standards. We have also done the same with the stadium in Olkalau. We are doing the same with now in Bomet. We are making an intervention in Bomet. We are making an intervention in areas where we believe definitely county governments working with national governments will deliver better. And so even in Isiolo, we should be able to do better in terms of what is going on with the stadium in Isiolo. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator. Yes, she claims there was a second part of the question.
Yes, that is a significant part of the question. The logic, the procedure, how we identify projects. And I did mention at the beginning of my answer that we came into office and found all these stalled facilities all over the place. Wote in Makueni, Kamarin in Elgeyo Marakwet, Marsabit, and all over the place. And one of the things we noted right away was that there was no logic in the selection of some of these projects. And that's where we now have a master plan. The sports infrastructure master plan provides logic for each of these projects. I'll give an example. There was a plan to do an international stadium in Kamarin in Elgeyo Marakwet County. Upon consultations and empirical logic, we realized no one will ever go to compete in Kamarin because of the high altitude. It is a training place, not a competing place. And so we have decided to do an elite training center, an elite high altitude training center instead of an international stadium. So we now have a frame that is logically conceived, which we believe will be able to fix this challenge and make sure that every corner of Kenya is reached in a logical manner and not left to the whims of individuals. I submit.
Senator Margaret Kamar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I want to thank the Minister for re-energizing the sector, and we believe he will be able to do well if he implements what he has presented before us today. As I seek a clarification on one statement he made, I also want to congratulate Kevin Kiptum, the new marathon world record breaker. And the Minister already awarded him the 5 million, and we thank him for that, to re-energize the whole sector. This is actually a member from my own village where I was born. But I wanted to get clarification, Mr. Speaker. When you pay a world record breaker the award of 5 million, does he still get the award of the gold? Because you can get gold without being a world record breaker. It was not clear to me whether when you break the record, you are given an additional award so that you are excited, so that our youth can move on to break records because they know there are two different awards. Is it still the same one? The same golden one of gold, or you are giving over and above that? Otherwise, Kiptum, I say congratulations.
Thank you, Senator. I would want us to take the last two questions, then you can answer all the three questions. The last two questions will be asked by Senator Cherargei and Senator Mohamed Chute. Senator Mohamed Chute.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I have two questions, but one I will ask now, the other one later on. Mr. Speaker, let me take this opportunity to thank our CS for coming here today, and also thank him immensely for the contributions he has made to this country, both as a politician and also as a CS. Similarly, Mr. Speaker, I would want to thank the CS for a successful bid of AFCON sports games. Mr. Speaker, let me also take this opportunity to join my fellow senators, both Abbas and Ebo Senator Dulo from Isiolo, to congratulate His Excellency, our beloved President, Dr. Samuel Ruto, for appointing our Ebo CEO Sports Fund, a young Senate aspirant, and also who has worked for IBC for many years. And Mr. Speaker, you will find this gentleman in the office from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Senator Chute, I was expecting you to ask for a supplementary question.
My question will be very short, Mr. Speaker. This guy comes from Isiolo. On behalf of the people of Marsabit and Isiolo, I want to congratulate him. Thank you very much for the good job you are doing. My question, Mr. Speaker, is about Marsabit Stadium. The CS has elaborately said, and he said it very well. He knows about Marsabit very well. But I wanted to know from the CS, if he has gone to Marsabit, to look at the collapsing structures. If he has not done so, can he tell us when is he going to visit Marsabit Stadium for a good report, and also to come and tell the country what has happened in that stadium. Thank you very much for now, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Cherogey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mine is very brief because I have one and I will ask later. Mr. Speaker, there's an annexure that has been provided on the air ticket that was paid to Budapest. This is in economy and it is 850,650 shillings. To the CS, is it wise to take people like Faith, like Ebenyo, Simiu, Daniel, using economy class, while yourself and the PS use business class? I thought they should be using business class and use economy class because they are going to work, they are not going to relax. Is it in order, CS, that our athletes should get at least leg room and relax and be able that when they land and go to Olympic Village, they should get a good relaxation on the way, Mr. Speaker? So I think, and then looking at this was around 76,856,450 through the economic class, Mr. Speaker, and therefore I really want to understand the logic behind getting our athletes who should at least get proper leg room when they are traveling, Mr. Speaker. On sports fund audited report, Mr. Speaker, I will request that I will engage the public accounts and the Labour Committee, because there are many questions within the Auditor General's report, Mr. Speaker, because they don't look very good. Even the basic accounting is not up to standard. So, Mr. Speaker, I will ask my second question later. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take one last question from the Majority Leader, and then you can answer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this chance. I'll be very brief because I know time is far much spent. Congratulate the CS for the work that he's doing, for the good things that have been noted by colleagues, and the challenges that have been expedited. Of course, additionally, I've realized that many people have congratulated Noor Mohammed on his appointment to serve as CEO of Sports Fund. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Noor Mohammed was in charge of the IBC team that oversaw my by-election back in 2015. So I'm happy for him as well. If he conducted that by-election for me successfully, I'm sure he can do a good job at the fund, and I wish him well as well, Mr. Speaker. CS, you and I go worried about is the time that it has taken to resolve certain matters, which I wish the CS to bring this House up to speed in terms of how much more time does he need to resolve these issues. Number one, the doping menace, especially in our athletics. Has a CS taken time to visit, say, Uasin Gishu County and Elgeyo Marakwet, where the known drug peddlers who are misleading our young athletes have set up camp? Has he taken time to do a public kamkunji with the athletes and understand who are these people who are misleading our young people to take performance enhancement drug that is leading to our ban? This issue is so serious, and CS, you know about it, that if it was not for the intervention of the president last minute, Kenya was not even supposed to participate in the World Championship. And therefore, I am a bit worried that the CS and his team that are here together with his PS and the team are taking longer in resolving this matter. If it is an amendment to the law that we passed here in 2016, I expect to see a legislative proposal here, because that is something that has the potential of embarrassing this country in a very bad way. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, is on management of federations. Many of our federations pose a great challenge to the ministry, and I understand about sports very well. Apart from politics, the only other thing that I engage in so deeply is sports, and I'm a lover of sports. And I know the challenge that we have with our federations, Mr. Speaker. And I'd wish to hear from the CS, what is his plan? What is his plan on how to better manage and at least guide? I know because of international obligations that Kenya has signed on to with many other global bodies, his hands are tied on many other aspects. But at least there are those that we can resolve locally. Athletics, for example, hasn't had elections for over a decade. Yet some of the people that have taken the government to court, I see them sometimes in the company of a CS doing certain responsibilities. So what is his plan in unlocking this challenge that we have with our federations? Thank you for your kind consideration, Chair. Speaker.
Cabinet Secretary, I think there are 4 questions.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I will take them in reverse order, starting with the question posed by the Honourable Majority Leader. I want to agree that doping is a matter of, I would actually even call it a matter of national interest, a matter of strategic national interest. And indeed, when this administration came to office, one of the very first crises we had to confront immediately was the very real threat of Kenya being banned by World Athletics because of a doping menace, a doping crisis that had reached unimaginable levels. And I'm glad that among our key success stories was that we engaged with World Athletics, the Athletics Integrity Unit, AIU, the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, and we were able to agree on an intervention plan. Indeed, among the very first measures we took in office was to host a multi-agency forum to agree on how to confront this plan. And we agreed on specific intervention measures. One of those measures was to put in place a multi-agency team to lead the anti-doping effort, which we have done. We have put together a team, and that team is actually led by a former elite athlete, Wesley Korea, who leads that team. We also committed significant funds, $5 million a year for the next 5 years, to help propel that. And therefore, we have a team. What we realized was that the previous war against doping was rather disjointed, and effort had not been made to join dots. Now we have a multi-agency team that brings together investigative bodies, NIS, DCI. We have the judiciary that is part of this team so that we can be able to deal with issues of prosecution. We have the Department of Health, which is part of this team. So it is a composite team which can deal with this menace from prevention, because prevention is key. And by the way, for these athletes, arrest of, or rather nabbing an athlete is not very useful to the athlete. What is really useful is prevention. And so the significant investment has to be at that level of prevention, investigation. I visited a camp, I can inform the Honourable Majority Leader through your through you, Honorable Speaker, that I visited a camp in E10, and one of the things I noted was that it is actually possible for an athlete to run into trouble by merely taking drugs across the counter. You walk to a chemist, you buy a drug across the counter. That drug may contain some elements which will actually ring bells, and you get into trouble with anti-doping bodies. And so I want to assure this House to have faith in the program we have put in place, the team, the multi-agency team we have put in place. It may have taken a bit of time, but remember the magnitude of the crisis we inherited. And it required a well-thought-out plan. Indeed, when the president of World Athletics, Lord Sebastian Coe, visited Kenya in January this year, he sympathized with us, and that is why World Athletics agreed with the plan that we put on the table. I want to assure the Honorable Majority Leader in this House that we'll definitely move with greater haste to roll out the program that we have put together under this plan, led by this multi-agency team. We will also be more available, but I can also tell this House that there are investigations that are at a very advanced level, advanced stage. There are some cases that are at a very advanced stage, of course, for obvious reasons. I wouldn't divulge details. And so I believe that we are on a good course in our anti-doping war. And the mantra in the ministry today is zero tolerance to doping. That's the mantra that we are driving. On the management of federations, yes, if I were to pick challenge number one for this ministry, the number one ranking challenge, it would be federations. And it is across the whole sporting arena. From swimming, we have had a big challenge with swimming. The last 3 months, actually, we have spent so much time to sort out a swimming crisis going back 7 years. We are on the verge of cracking that crisis in swimming. Football has had its challenges. The Honorable Majority Leader is right to say that he and I go a long time, and he and I have shared a lot of thinking, a lot of thoughts around the question of how do we fix our football? How do we align our football? How do we propel and deploy the full potential of our footballing, talents? And so we have put together a framework of engagement with federations. I did call all federations to a forum. All of them, 69 of them, turned up. We agreed on a number of irreducible minimums. Those minimums include transparency and accountability in the utilization of resources placed at their disposal. It also includes governance, because the biggest challenge in federation is governance. And I can tell you that when you fix governance, it's amazing to see the results. You can see what is happening in our rugby. We were able to sort out the leadership issues in rugby. Our rugby is actually coming back. And our Shujaa team has just beaten the rest of Africa to qualify for the Olympics next year. And so if we fix the leadership in our federations, we will definitely perform better in sports. I want to give this my assurance that we are on to this. Football, we have a plan, a roadmap on how we are going to sort out football and the rest of the federations. But let me also admit that among the greatest challenges we face is litigation. Every time you make an effort, someone runs to court. A court issues an injunction. We have faced those injunctions. Athletics Kenya has injunctions running back almost 10 years. We are figuring out how to deal with this litigious environment or a culture, even as we fix our sports. Let me move quickly to the question posed by Senator Cherargei, the travel by our athletes. This is a budgetary issue that cuts across the whole of the sporting arena. And it is something definitely, I can tell this Honorable House, it is something that would not be beyond the ministry to consider a review in the event that there is a sufficient budgetary provision to be able to provide our athletes with better traveling conditions. What we do normally is that we try to ensure that the athletes travel in good time, so that they arrive at their destination in good time and they have sufficient time to relax and to rest and to train before competition. But if I'm hearing this House say that we want our sportsmen and women to travel in more comfortable conditions, then that is something which definitely the ministry would listen to and consider within the normal budgetary limits. Quickly moving on to the question by Senator Margaret Kamar and Senator Honorable Speaker, let me confirm that the 5 million reward to a world record breaker covers two terrains. There are competitions which do not involve what you may call classical podium finishes or classical podium finishes of gold and all that. And the example are the city marathons, like the Chicago Marathon. And so you break a world record, we will give you your 5 million. Now, let's take the example of the Olympics, which is a sport that, or is an arena that also takes pride in the podium finish. So you win gold and you also break the world record. Then what? The 5 million is then treated as an enhanced reward. It's treated as an enhanced reward. So it covers both. But should you win multiple medals, and I'll give the example of Faith Kipyegon, who won 2 gold medals in Budapest, then you are rewarded per gold medal. The reward that we have for every gold medal. And for instance, our reward for gold medal at that level is 3 million shillings. So Faith was rewarded with 6 million shillings, 3 million for each of the gold medal. That is how it has been structured. But again, this is a policy, it's a new policy that the ministry has put in place, and it would definitely be subject to input of the Senate. Would be willing to listen to how to make this scheme even better than what it is today. I think I'll now move on to the question by Senator Shule. And Senator, I want to appreciate through you, Honorable Speaker, for the kind words from Senator Shule. And just to tell this Honorable House that indeed, we inherited a total mess in this sporting arena, a total mess. We came to office, we found Kenya suspended by FIFA, we found a crisis with doping, crisis in swimming, crisis in handball. It was crisis. Everywhere you looked, you saw crisis. And I'm glad that 1 year down the line, we can count milestones of success. The other day, I sat back to listen to governors debating where the Africa Cup of Nations should be hosted. And I said, wow, what a good debate. 11 months from a FIFA suspension, I mean, to imagine that 11 months ago, we were not even talking football because the country was suspended. A short 11 months down the line, we are now contesting where AFCON should be held. It is remarkable. It's a remarkable turnaround, and is a remarkable success stories. And it is good for us to commend the successes of our teams. Let us commend the team that put together the bid. I really commend His Excellency the President, who was really the champion of this bid. It was the leadership of the President that rallied his regional colleagues, President Museveni in Uganda, President Samia Suluhu in Dar es Salaam, to come together really and support this East Africa Pamoja bid. And I applaud our President and his colleagues in the region for that. Let us also applaud our teams that have done well as we prepare for the Olympics. Our volleyball women team, Malkia Strikers, have conquered Africa and will be at the Olympics. Our women sevens team, the Shujaa, have conquered Africa and they'll be at the Olympics. Our team in Riga, Latvia, conquered the world and emerged top in the world. Our Budapest team conquered the world and led Africa in Budapest. Our football is back, Harambee Stars is making baby steps to come back. Next Monday, we'll be playing Russia in Turkey. And this will be the first time for a Kenyan national football team to play an A-list team in global football. And perhaps where I would invite this house to really, really commend is our women football. Our women football has really, really grown. I was with Senator at Nyayo Stadium to watch our rising Harambee starlets. Our girls put 6 goals past a very experienced Angolan team to literally qualify for the next round in the race to the World Cup Under-20 Championship. And before that, the senior women team, the Harambee Starlets, did something that no Kenyan team has ever done, to beat a Cameroonian team in a competitive game when they knocked out Cameroon in the qualifiers for the Women Africa Cup of Nations. And we are now preparing this team to face the next round, and we have a lot of faith that they'll qualify for the competition. So overall, our sports is at a good level, and I believe that we are making good progress. I beseech this house, I ask this house to support the efforts we are rolling out under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda in this sector of sports. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Cabinet Secretary. At this point, we will give you leave. Thank you very much for answering all the questions, and thank you for the good job you're doing at the ministry, and we wish you all the best. Thank you, Cabinet Secretary, and your team. Honorable Senators, the question number 11, 12 by Senator Kinyua and question number 45 by Senator Lomenen have been deferred. Next order.
Order number 8, the Digital Health Bill, National Assembly Bills number 57 of 2023, second reading.
Majority Leader. And Majority Leader, at this juncture, I will use Standing Order number 34-2A to extend the sitting of this session by another 15 minutes so that you can be able to finish moving the motion.
Okay, that's good, Speaker, because gives me sufficient time to move seconding, and maybe even one or two of our colleagues can contribute, because I don't intend to be long on this, Mr. Speaker. I understand the interest from our colleagues. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to now move that the Digital Health Bill, National Assembly Bill number 57 of 2023, be now read a second time. Mr. Speaker, this is a very important bill or piece of legislation. Colleagues will recall that when we were in Turkana for Senate Mashinani, I did mention that there are 4 enabling bills to the UHC. This House successfully transacted 2 of them, completed them, complete with amendments. We fostered devolution by ensuring that many of those funds are locked up in our counties, and agreements ensuring that county governments and the national government relate and respect each other, Mr. Speaker. This bill now further, Mr. Speaker, is an addition to the other 2, the one on primary health and the one on community health promoters, Mr. Speaker. This is about technology and the use of technology, Mr. Speaker, to enhance and make health easily and readily available to our citizens. You do know, Mr. Speaker, for a fact that many of the rural communities that we represent, if your mother, if the caretaker, the caregiver, loses an exercise book, in my village they used to use the 32-page exercise book, and in fact it will be divided into 2. If a mother, for whatever reason, loses that particular book, the health records of that particular child disappear. And the next time she goes to clinic, first she has to do first 5 minutes of being given a tongue lashing by the community nurse, then they begin to build up the records. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, that story hasn't changed. Even as we become adults, as we speak well here in Nairobi, to many of the people that we represent in this House, the issue of their health records is something that they continue to struggle with. Mr. Speaker, many communities are not able, Mr. Speaker, to keep the health records of the citizens. Yet we know that we are living in the data age. This is the information age, Mr. Speaker. This is a time upon which Mr. Speaker, when you provide data readily available, then it is a source of wealth, Mr. Speaker. I know that this bill, Mr. Speaker, is extremely crucial and important, and I want to ask colleagues to take time and support this particular bill, Mr. Speaker, because of the length of time that it has taken to prepare it, Mr. Speaker, and the proposals that are therein, ensuring that our citizens are able to have their records kept in one interoperable system, that your records in as far as Turkana, Senator Lomonen, your citizens, if they come to Nairobi and visit a health center that will be on this national health integrated digital health information system, they will be able to access their Turkana records while here in Nairobi. Something that is done in many of the private hospitals, but unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, is not readily available to our citizens. So we are trying to make legislation, Mr. Speaker, to enable the ordinary villagers, the people that we represent in this House, Mr. Speaker, to come onto the civilized 21st century and the practices that are therein. It's not anything new. If you know about, for example, M-TIBA, it's a program that's run by Safaricom and I think a few private entities. They do the same thing, Mr. Speaker. Yet, it is to the exclusion of ordinary citizens, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, this bill has got very good, elaborate propositions on how a comprehensive, integrated digital health information system, Mr. Speaker, can be rolled out and include a complete medical history, past diagnosis, medications that you've been given, the treatment plans, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, even these issues about litigation that you continue to see, about misdiagnosis or patients that have been treated wrongly, Mr. Speaker, this will become things of the past. Or at least health authorities will be able to refer back to your file and establish whether you have been handled properly or you are not given the proper medication, what is the history. You know, Mr. Speaker, this is something good. This is what we need for our country. This is what many citizens are yearning and dying for, Mr. Speaker. With this kind of readily available information, Mr. Speaker, imagine even the cost of medical research will be brought down, and there are big farmers that will be able to make useful the information that is provided herein and guide them even in terms of their research so that they are able to see why is it that people from a particular village in Kericho always face are susceptible to a particular kind of strain of disease, Mr. Speaker, and they can be able to release the proper medication. Here in Kemsa, for example, they shall not, county governments will not just be buying drugs with the hope that, oh, this or that is needed. Information will drive a fit-for-purpose system, Mr. Speaker, that ensures, Mr. Speaker, that the information that is set out or sent to ordinary citizens, Mr. Speaker, is important. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to celebrate and say that Kenya has made tremendous progress in efforts to progress in digital technology. We are the trendsetters in technology, Mr. Speaker. You know that in the space of finances, the rest of Africa, including the globe, they come here to learn of our practices. This is another area, Mr. Speaker, that we want to lead the world into appreciating and knowing. Yet, Mr. Speaker, when comparatively with other countries that are of our standing, Mr. Speaker, I was listening to the BBC yesterday, Mr. Speaker, while driving to work, and I heard on the program, Mr. Speaker, how people have made use of technology and systems such as this to even ensure that all the kids in the country get immunization at the right date and at the right time, Mr. Speaker. And that with the use of technology, they are able even to remind mothers, because ordinary mothers in the village sometimes, Mr. Speaker, are not able, Mr. Speaker, either because they have so many other things that they are dealing with and they don't remember the day of vaccination for the child, or even, Mr. Speaker, that technology makes it possible for community help programs, Mr. Speaker, to be able to send bus fare, you know, either a bus ticket or whatever means, Mr. Speaker, to mothers that have kids who on a particular day are supposed to be taken, mothers that come from disadvantaged backgrounds, Mr. Speaker, and they know that when we analyze a particular lady, she may not be able to take her child for vaccination, and they send them a bus ticket or something like that. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, the point I'm making is that the world has made advances in medical technology. And this is the step that you are trying to make. And I want to urge colleagues to support this particular bill. Has good provisions on how to set up this institution, the qualifications of the CEO, people who will run, all those issues and fears that people have on safety of the data that is captured, all captured in the bill, Mr. Speaker, because even part of the board that will oversee the operations of this body that we are creating to oversee the digital health platform, Mr. Speaker, includes officials, the data commissioner in person or a representative in writing, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that your information is not just abused. And if there will be use of it, Mr. Speaker, it is for the betterment of the people of Kenya, to ensure that you have this information readily available. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, it's pretty much a straightforward bill, which I want to ask colleagues to support, Mr. Speaker, so that we may be able to advance and grow the country into the next level. There are various clauses in the bill, about 60 of them, but many of them cover that particular space about what I've spoken about. With those very many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move and request the Senator for Kakamega, Dr. Boni Halwale, to second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the leader of the majority for giving me the honor to second this very game changer of a bill. Mr. Speaker, I couldn't be a better choice. I am one of the few members in this Senate and in the National Assembly who is an expert in the matter which is at the heart of this bill. Drawing in support of this motion, I want to ask colleagues to draw experiences from what the government did to improve the education system, the so-called NEMIS, National Education Management Information System. It has revolutionized the management of national exams and monitoring of children as they move towards national exams. It creates a unique personal identification code which helps the child to be monitors as they move up the ladder. In this case, it's more critical because, Mr. Speaker, this bill will speak to life-saving measures. It might look simple, but listen to this. A woman who has never gone to school, and there are many in this country, she is probably a young mother, pregnant for the first time. She has no idea why the nurse, when she went to attend an antenatal clinic, why the nurse gave her an injection. For all she cares, probably it was because she was having a cough or she was having malaria, name it. But the injection she really needed, Mr. Speaker, was one to secure the child, the unborn child, against tetanus at birth. It is called the injection against tetanus. It's called the TT vaccine. Mr. Speaker, when this girl goes to the clinic, she got an injection of malaria. She's asked, have you ever been to the clinic? She says, yes. Have you received an injection? Did you receive an injection? She says, yes. So the subsequent nurse assumes that the injection she got at that time was against tetanus, when actually it was for treatment of malaria and not against it. So this girl carries this baby for 9 beautiful months. Child is delivered under difficult conditions and child dies from tetanus. Now with this bill, all that the nurse will need is to key in the details of this mother, and she'll realize that the mother at that time did not get TT. It's a life-saving. Mr. Speaker, it also speaks to the life-threatening conditions of allergies. if at the first incidence a patient is exposed, usually children, to the drugs that cause allergic reactions, for example, sulfur, drugs to which the child is allergic, and they have reactions, those reactions will be recorded, and this child will be prohibited from being exposed to sulfur-containing medications. Now, when that record is on computer, it means that every time this child appears before another medical person, you key in and you know that this child should not be given this kind of injection, and you save lives. Because exposing that child sometimes can be fatal. Another advantage of this bill, Mr. Speaker, is to save on wasteful expenditure. We have consultations where specialists, which are very hard to get, specialists in this country doctors in this country are hard to come by. Specialists are even harder to come by. So if a child has had an opportunity to be carried from Lohaha village in Sirisia, from Boyomboli village in Ekolomani, to go to teaching and referral hospital in Moi, and they access a specialist, the opinion of that specialist must remain on paper. So that should the child present before a junior medical practitioner, then they already are guided by a previous opinion by that specialist. Mr. Speaker, finally, we have got illnesses that run through families. We call them hereditary diseases. Mr. Speaker, things like this include sickle cell anemia and so forth. Once an opinion has been made, it will remain on the computer, and it will give the child, the patient, on subsequent visits, an opportunity to get better management. With those few remarks, this is a technical bill. I want to urge all colleagues to trust me, to trust the letter and spirit of the bill, and we all should rally behind the bill and pass it and amend it. With those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I second the bill as moved by the leader of the majority. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Honorable Senators, I propose the question that the Digital Health Bill, National Assembly Bills number 57 of 2023, be now read a second time. I think senators can make contribution. Senator Lomenen, what is your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, given the importance of this bill, I seek guidance from you so that we limit the contribution time of the members. May 5 minutes will be okay, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Please. Mr. Speaker, I know there will be intense interest by members to contribute. So like we did in the other bills, Mr. Speaker, if we can keep it at 5 so that as many people get a chance to speak. I myself moved it in 5 minutes, to seconded in 5. So I believe that will be a good time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Majority Leader. I put the question that the debate is limited to 5 minutes. I propose the question that the debate is limited to 5 minutes. I put the question that the debate is limited to 5 minutes. As many as of that opinion say aye. As many of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Mandango.
Honorable Speaker,
First, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to contribute on this digital health bill. Honorable Speaker, first and foremost, I want to thank the Committee of Health, my members, and the stakeholders who we engaged extensively on this bill, Honorable Speaker, for actually adopting and passing this bill. Honorable Speaker, this nation is preparing to roll out UHC. UHC has been a program that has been in the desk of this country for the last almost 20 years, Honorable Speaker, but we've not succeeded as a nation. I attribute past failure to lack of consultation, engaging stakeholders, and bringing on board all the stakeholders, and also bringing in enabling legislation that will then enable the government to roll out UHC, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the Digital Health Bill is a very important bill for the rollout of universal health care. Knowing very well that as a nation, that we don't have sufficient senior staff in terms of consultants at the highest level of medical level, Honorable Speaker, there is need to share these very limited resources. This Digital Health Bill, therefore, will provide a framework of sharing medical information between patients, consultants, and doctors from all facilities all over the country. And Honorable Speaker, it is not just the Digital Health Bill that we are going to pass and the creation of the Digital Health Agency that will be established. There are other programs the national government, Kenya Kwanza administration are rolling out to facilitate this process, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as you are aware, through the Ministry of ICT, the national government is rolling out the national fiber superhighway across the nation. These 100,000 kilometers. This, again, Honorable Speaker, is going to facilitate the creation, the establishment of systems that can be used for diagnosis at health facilities and instructions to consultants who will probably be seated anywhere in this country. And we all know very well that the majority of the consultants are sitting in most of the urban areas of this nation, like in Nairobi, in Eldoret, in Nakuru, in Kisumu. But we have counties, Honorable Speaker, that have very few consultants by virtue of the areas they're operating from, and there is need for those citizens in those counties to access this specialized service. This is how health is going to be revolutionized, using very little resources you have in terms of human resource and enabling all Kenyans to be able to access that. Honorable Speaker, the Digital Health Bill, concerns that have been raised on issues of protection of data. I would want to say this, that Honorable Speaker, this bill provides for access, but for the first time, Honorable Speaker, the access will have to be applied and authorized, and it will be under the custody of the data protection, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, the worry of Kenyans of health data being accessed will be addressed by that, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, also as a Senate, being protectors of devolution and promoters of devolution, Honorable Speaker, the Digital Health Agency as a provision for a member to be appointed from the Council of Governors to take care of the interests of counties in that board and ensure that there is seamless integration of services from both county government and national level. Honorable Speaker, knowing very well that referral hospitals are a function of national government and the other hospitals are functions of counties, but because of this digital provision, there is going to be a seamless interaction between the facilities at the county level and at the national level. And Honorable Speaker, probably this is what is going to also provide that very efficient referral platform for patients. And you now don't need to refer patients using an ambulance, transporting a critical patient all the way from West Pokot to Kenyatta National Hospital or MTRH, but you can quickly do a referral on the digital platform and get the results, and the patient can be attended at that sub-county facility in any part of this country. These are the benefits that is going to accrue to this nation once we adopt this bill, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I know my time is up, but let me ask and urge all my colleagues that let's support and pass this bill so that we can roll out UAC, and for the first time, any citizen of Kenya can actually get consultant services on a digital platform across the nation. Honorable Speaker, I submit.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Mohamed Chute.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Let me take this opportunity to stand here before you today to support this bill. Mr. Speaker, as you know, Marsabit County, vast and arid county. Mr. Speaker, this digital health bill is very important for Kenya, but for our county, not only Marsabit County. Marsabit County, Upper Eastern County, Northeastern counties, Turkana County, Samburu County, because of our nomadic structure, nomadic way of living, we are disadvantaged against the normal card-based health care. Mr. Speaker, our people are traveling all the way to a place called Yaballo in Ethiopia and several cities in Ethiopia for medical care. Mr. Speaker, it has become very expensive for the families of specifically Marsabit County in terms of medical bills. Mr. Speaker, this bill, number 57, will make the people of Marsabit be having treatment in the nearest hospital available, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this bill is good for data protection. Mr. Speaker, our people are mostly illiterate. They will come today to you with some documents, papers, which are torn out, very old. And even for the healthcare people, the doctors, to even read those documents gets very difficult. But if you have a data that subscribes to a particular patient, it will be kept in that data and it will be accessed from anywhere.
Senator Chute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You will have a remainder of 3 minutes when this debate resumes, Senator Mohamed Chute. Honorable Senators, it is now 1:15 p.m. and having directed a later interruption of business for the convenience of the Senate, pursuant to Standing Order 34-2A, the Senate stands adjourned until today, Wednesday, 11th October, 2023 at 2:30 p.m.
Naam, mtazamaji, kimekuwa kikao cha asubuhi cha bunge la Seneti na sasa tumefikia tamati. Tumekuwa na spika wa muda Seneta Wakili Sigei, na hapo mwanzoni mwa kikao Seneta Okenyuri alipewa nafasi ya kuwasilisha nyaraka mbili kutoka kwa kamati ya afya. Alifanya hivyo kwa niaba ya mwenyekiti wa kamati hiyo Seneta Mandago. Baada ya hapo, waziri wa masuala ya ndani mwa nchi na mipango ya kitaifa Profesa Kindiki alifika tayari kukabiliana na maswali kutoka kwa maseneta. Profesa Kindiki alijibu maswali kadha wa kadha kutoka kwa Seneta Chute. Baadhi ya mambo ambayo aliangazia ni pamoja na nafasi za kazi kwa machifu pamoja na manaibu wa chifu katika kaunti zote humu nchini. Hali ya usalama pia ni swala ambalo aliangazia. Tunazungumzia usalama katika kaunti ya Turkana na pia kaunti zingine zilizoko kaskazini mwa nchi. Akatamatisha pia kwa kuzungumzia kuajiriwa na kusambazwa kwa polisi wa akiba, yani police reservist. Na kulikuwa na maswali mengine ambayo alijibu kutoka kwa Seneta Khalwale, Seneta Methu, Seneta Mundiki, Seneta Muma, Seneta Kisang na maseneta wengineo. Waziri Kindiki alipoondoka, waziri wa masuala ya vijana na michezo aliingia. Anakwenda kwa jina Ababu Namwamba. Naye waziri Namwamba alikabiliana na maswali kutoka kwa Seneta Chute na vile vile Seneta Cherargei. Na katika kujibu maswali, waziri Ababu aliangazia mbio za dunia ambazo zilifanyika Budapest mnamo mwezi wa 8 mwaka huu. na njia ambazo Kenya ilitumia kuchagua wanariadha ambao waliwakilisha Kenya katika kipute hicho. Waziri pia aliangazia masuala ya ujenzi wa viwanja mbalimbali vya michezo ikiwemo ule uwanja wa Marsabit na swala la matumizi ya dawa za kuongeza nguvu kwa wanariadha, yani doping, pia ni swala ambalo waziri alizungumzia. Hatimaye waziri Ababu Namwamba alizungumzia kandanda nchini na alipata kuguzia japo kwa kiduchu tu masuala ya AFCON pamoja bid 2027. Na alipoondoka waziri Ababu, spika wa muda Seneta Abdul Haji alichukua usukani kisha akamkaribisha Seneta Cheruiyot. Seneta Cheruiyot alikwenda moja kwa moja kwa mswada nambari 57 ambao unahusu mambo ya afya kidijitali, yani the Digital Health Bill. Aliyepata kumuunga mkono si mwingine ila seneta wa Kakamega, Seneta Khalwale. Na mtazamaji, kisha mambo yakakomea hapo. Na ili kujua yote yaliyojiri katika kikao cha asubuhi cha bunge la Seneti, na kuomba uingie katika tovuti ya bunge www.parliament.go.ke, na hapo ndipo utapata kikao cha Seneti kwa YouTube na pia utapata nakala yako ya Hansard. Mnamo saa 8:30 alasiri kutakuwa na kikao kingine cha bunge la Seneti na kuomba usikose. Nimekuwa wako Vusaka Litu, kwa heri.